Hello there, everyone. My name is Waba, and what you're about to watch is Mental Health Monday. It's a podcast that I do every single week live on Twitch, link in the description below. We talk with 1 to 2 guests, sometimes 3, on a topic of the month, and purely I'm just asking them about their experience with this topic. Either they have personally gone through this or they have dealt with it in some manner in a personal way. The purpose of these talks is to bring education to others and to bring awareness to these issues, and that mental health is real, mental health matters, it's okay to not be okay, and more to the point, it's okay to talk about it, and it's okay to reach out for help. There's a lot that goes into Mental Health Monday. It's very intentional, and we have a bit of a check-in usually before the talks. In addition, I myself am trained as a mental health counselor. I have a master's in mental health counseling. Now, I never, ever, ever will claim that I am anyone's therapist online. I'm a mental health advocate, and I will share resources to the day I die. But as far as help goes, I highly encourage anyone out there to seek your own help. I have resources both on my Twitch page, but also in my Discord under resources, and highly encourage anyone to seek professional help if you are struggling with something that the people on my podcast are talking about with their experiences. In addition, they're raw, uncut, and unscripted. I usually have a few questions to kind of structure it a little bit, but we might go off the rails sometimes, have some casual conversations. Other questions might be asked, delving into details. All things considered, I put a content warning out there at the beginning of my talks usually, right before we jump into them. And it's just to say, hey, show some respect, towards the guests and their stories, first of all, obviously. But more importantly, if a topic comes up that might be potentially triggering, feel free to click off the video, feel free, to click off the stream, during the stream, or mute the tab, whatever, come back when you feel comfortable. I don't wish to trigger anyone, but I want these talks to be as unrestricted as possible so that folks can tell their story in their best words. Your discretion is advised, depending on the nature of the subject. So with that out of the way, I just want to welcome you into this video. Feel free to skip ahead as well. I'll put a timestamp in the description. And with that, enjoy Mental Health Monday and welcome into the Waba fam, your mental health talk place and queer safe space. Take care. Hey, I saw that. How's it going?
It's going well. I thought I was clashing with the background too much, you see.
Oh, was it? Oh, you're fine, you're fine.
I was too purple, if such a thing is possible.
Too purple? Jeffrey would have your head if he heard you say that.
Well, I'm in purple. Normally the room's in purple, or I'm in purple, not both at the same time.
I'm in purple today, and this wasn't even a conscious choice.
That means I'm in your unconscious now.
Oh, no.
Finally.
Oh no. Please kindly introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What are you doing here?
Okay. I am Dave, aka MindSetByDave, but only my mum calls me Mindset. Everybody else calls me Dave. I am a mental health streamer from the UK. I am a mental health educator, so I work in schools and businesses, educating on mental health first aid, educating on mental health awareness, primarily focusing on the most, we call them the big three, but they're not the big three, they're the most common three, which is depression, anxiety, and stress, the 3 parts of mental health that affect the most people. And I am someone who lives and has lived their entire life with bipolar disorder, so that's why I'm here today. I'm also the freshest I've ever been for coming on this show because I had a 2.5-hour nap before I came here. So.
Oh, god damn, that must have been so nice.
It wasn't nice waking up from it, but it was,
sorry.
I was so disoriented for about 10 minutes. I'm like, oh god, I made such a mistake. But now But now I'm feeling good because normally I've tried to stretch my evening out and just cracked on with some work to stay up for this. But yeah, this was definitely the right. I actually tried last time round to nap before I came on, but I just couldn't get to sleep. So, but this time round I persevered, and I'm feeling good.
I'm glad you're feeling good. I'm also like filled with fucking wholesome love energy right now because Devil 9 has revealed themselves to us as a long-time lurker. I only remember that Dave would be here just as I'm about to go to bed. Aw, mate. Thank you so much for being here.
Wait, Devil's
Fucking
about
hell.
to go to bed at midday. It's it's
midday.
midday where he is.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he's in Australia.
Wait, you know Devil?
Oh yeah,
What?
Devil's one of my main mods.
Oh shit.
And by main mods, I mean I've got like 100 mods, and then I've got 4 that are active.
Am I modded in your channel? No, I'm not. Not anymore.
No, you're VIP'd now because you were a temporary mod, and because for stepping up when I didn't have anyone there that day, you are now a lifelong VIP.
Oh shit. I'm gonna try, man. I already mod for 1 million channels, so it's like whatever. One more. Feel free to use the check-in straw poll, by the way. It's live updates. They live on British time. It is midnight. Yeah.
In fact, actually, you know how you just said about like copying from me about bringing the straw poll over?
Absolutely.
The straw poll was Rob, aka Devil's idea. So there you go.
Oh crap! Thank you so much, mate.
He's the one who brought that to my stream.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah. I mean, I think it's a great idea, honestly. It's a cool way to see like live how folks are doing.
Yeah. The only downside to it is we used to do one at the start and one at the end, and at the end, obviously, you get different answers. And you can't change your answer. So once you've submitted, that's it. But if I remember to now, we do one at the end where it says during the course of the stream, has your mental health maintained, improved, or deteriorated?
Ooh.
And I just sit there and cross my fingers for not too many deteriorations, because even though it's probably not my fault.
Yeah, I feel like you're setting yourself up there a little bit.
Yeah, so far it's not gone wrong, but as soon as I say it out loud, I'm like, oh god, that could possibly happen one day.
I was about to say, like, what if you just get like 1 million people and you're like, no, my mental health has been deteriorated because of this stream.
Well, first of all, I'd be like, oh my god, I've got 1 million people in here. Look at me being all toxically positive.
Toxic positive in my stream. Get out of here. Ban him.
By me. What can I say? I'm in a good mood.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But what would you? No, seriously though, what would you do if like you had like a fair number of folks that said like they've actually deteriorated mental health wise?
Oh yeah, I'd probably take that personally. It's ironic really, because if I had like 100% of people say, oh, it's got better, like that'd be like a nice little quick bit of validation that the stream's working and stuff, and then I'd kind of almost, not instantly, but
is that what the poll is for you though, isn't it?
The poll is where people are on that day, because as I said, you know, I'm not positive vibes only. My whole thing is appropriate vibes only.
Yeah, I've adopted that as well. I'm stealing all your shit.
and basically,
really
first of all, a rising tide raises all ships. But
yes, exactly.
But yeah, so the check-in is because our big philosophy on the channel is no matter where your mental health is, your value is always 100%.
Yes.
And I've started extending that as well to where no matter where your health is, because we have a lot of people with hidden disabilities, with chronic illness and such in our channel now as well.
The entirety of my community, hidden disabilities, hidden mental illnesses, you know, like
Yeah.
You name it, we probably have it somewhere.
Yeah, we've that's it. Well, that's why our community is called diversity, short for a pun on diversity.
Yeah,
Diversity.
and
Wow, I
mine's
can't even
called
pronounce
Waba Fam because I'm obviously a raging narcissist.
Yeah, well, the problem is raging narcissists don't usually tell you they are. They usually keep that to themselves and hope that you never find out.
Really?
It's the only thing.
My
they do
mom
keep to
calls
themselves.
herself the bitch of the universe now, so I tend to disagree.
Oh well, yeah. In that case, with that focus group of one, I'm staying out of it. But hold on, I was meant to be host, wasn't I? Host's actually working now.
No, they aren't.
They're not working.
Shit the bed, they are not.
Really?
There's no
It
way.
wasn't even letting me enter a host or a raid the other day. Let's try.
You can
Let's
raid
try.
me, but you can't host me. It's not a pop
Yeah,
up.
no host. So I can raid you, but
Well, the host will still work. It just won't pop up as a notification.
no, it's not letting me. It's not letting me raid or host anybody from my channel.
Why not?
I have no idea. Whenever like it tells you what the syntax is for it while you're typing it. When I hit enter, it puts the brackets, the square brackets with the word channel in it. It just inserts that into it, and if I delete that from there and hit enter again, it inserts it back in, and I just get stuck in this endless loop of not being able to host or raid. Whether I do it through my OBS chat or whether I do it through the chat directly on the page, doesn't matter.
The fuck? I can host and raid from my chat still. I was able to do that yesterday. I can still do it right now as well.
We ended up doing the old school raid. I just taking everybody over to a channel like manually. When we didn't raid out,
Yeah,
and
just
it's on that.
spam link. There you go. That's the YouTube raid. Well, let me raid the other day. I had to go to create dashboard, use the raid channel button. That's so weird. I don't know what fucking happens.
Let's go to create a dashboard and use the raid channel. Yeah, I raid a channel button.
It works for me as well. Yeah, it should work. I still don't get notifications for it, but it still works.
Raid a channel.
Oh, by the way, since you're a mod, I should let everyone know here. There's been an influx lately of some more hate bots. They're just follower hate bots. But they have like various names such as like X number of people in Ukraine died or whatever, some stupid shit like that, basically. So just be on the lookout if you mod. I told my mods in my mod chat today that I might actually turn off my alert box if we start getting them. So usually where one comes, a bunch come. So
you are already raiding WabaStreams. There you go. You've been raided.
I've been raided. I'm just gonna play. I'm not gonna mute my notification because I like it. Hi, hello.
It's a horrendous person with a horrible new username called MindSetByDave.
Oh, you didn't ask 5 of your friends to get in there first? Damn.
I don't have 5 friends.
You could at your Discord. I'm sure 5 strangers would go in there.
It's a good point, actually.
Exactly. Now, is it going to actually go through, or is it just going to be like fucking stuck in limbo forever?
It's just, I mean,
it's like, I'm sorry, you can't raid this channel. This channel has marked itself as not being allowed to raid. I'm like, what?
This channel has said that you're not allowed to raid with less than 1. Actually, isn't it a similar sort of thing like with the hosts? It's like
you can do raids to 0. You can do raids to 1. Absolutely.
I mean, it says I'm already raiding WabaStreams when I try to do it.
You can just click raid now. It goes faster.
I've done it.
Yeah.
But it's not come through. Twitch. You don't know what they're doing.
Oh god, it's really broke.
I think
maybe that's
so.
why I didn't haven't been rated lately. No, wait, no, I was rated yesterday or the day before.
No, on the stream that I couldn't raid. There we go. With a party of 2.
Shit. Yo, let's go. Touring through your stream, sending love everywhere. Let's fucking go. Twitch, get your shit together? No. Twitch has never once gotten its shit together. So, Dave, I posted a tweet the other day that asked fellow streamers and content creators if they wanted to talk on their mental health about how content creation has affected their mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And I was afraid to make that tweet, and then it fucking blew up.
Oh, good.
Yeah, very good. So these are two questions. How has your mental health affected your content creation, and vice versa? How has content creation affected your mental health? Those are two separate questions.
Okay, so how has my mental health affected my content? Number one, I wouldn't have content if I didn't have my mental health, because that's all I make. That's all I make content on. My content is just a desperate need for validation. No. So basically, so all my content now is mental health, 100% of it. Like the occasional kind of blooper reel or whatever. Not even a blooper reel, like single blooper. And then the occasional really shitty dad joke, right? That's what my content is. So without my I call it the double-edged sword, because it, like, the beauty of my content is the fact that most people are like, oh my god, you've put this so well. It's almost like you've experienced it, and it's like, because I have. It's like, oh wow, you explained this so well. It's like, yes, 40 years of life will do that to you.
You know, I find that weird. I mean, I guess you have 40 years of like experience to speak on, but like as someone who has been through a lot of shit, I find that myself that I'm not very well articulated. Like I am not the words autistic. Like I just don't words very well sometimes. Like sometimes I guess I do. I can pull my shit together enough to like words correctly, but usually it's just like not well worded. I fucking really look up to you in that aspect that you script things out really, really well. And I guess you just have the patience for it, and I just don't, or something. But like
I don't script. None of it's scripted. Like, it's all.
I don't believe that.
I promise. You said I have the patience for it. I don't have the patience to script. Like, I don't. Wow. I can't. Like,
so that makes it even more impressive.
Okay, so the way I see it is, I've had a lot of practice doing it.
Right.
And that's all I see it down to.
Like, you've literally done this for a living before. Like, you were a mindset coach, and you've talked to kids.
Yeah, well, I've talked to in the region of about 2,000 people. Like, well, okay, so like I've talked to over 1,000 adults one-to-one, because I ran a project for 4 years where I give an hour of my day to a different person. So I went like over 1,000 with that, and that it's like when they say they're in the 10,000 hours now. So a lot of the content that I speak on, and I speak on really confidently, it's not always the first time. So sometimes I actually admit this, and I don't know why I admit this, actually. I don't know if this is a flex and I'm trying to show off or whatever, or if I'm just trying to get the person that's opposite me to be patient with me. If I'm talking on something for the first time, I will say, now, just hold on a second. I'm talking this through on the first time, so I'm going to take my time for it. But the majority of the time, what I'm talking about, what comes up in chat, it's never the first time that thing's come up before. And it's like there's so many times that, if someone comes in with a condition we've never talked about before or anything like that, then that's different. And then it's time for me to learn, and it's time for me to kind of like ask questions of the audience, or the person the person that has the condition, and about what that means to them. But if it's like more mindset based, or if it's stuff that I've lived myself, i.e. anxiety, depression, bipolar, then I'll talk on that a whole lot more confidently. But it's always down to the fact that I've spoken on it many, many times. So being a people pleaser, I've spoken to hundreds of people about that.
So like when you're talking about a particular topic, like you'll basically have in your mind like a repertoire of stuff that you know to say about it, pretty much.
Yeah, so like I think of it like being, because when I said before, like, now all my content now is mental health. Historically, I used to be. I mean, I still am a musician. I can still play, but and I just don't anymore.
What do you play?
Yeah, I play guitar, I play piano, I play drums.
Same. I don't play drums though.
In that order of competence, actually, maybe I'm slightly more competent on the drums than the piano these days. But basically, I used to be a solo artist at one point, doing like basically playing guitar and singing. Before that, I was in 2 different bands at the same time. One was a emo band, and the other one was a not a hip hop band, that was earlier. It was a folk band, and then earlier than that, I was in a hip hop band. Now, the way I used to do it back then is we had a set list. Like, so we'd, you go out and you'd have a set list, and you knew your songs, and you knew certain songs better than you knew other songs. And when I started doing mental health presentations, because that was what it started with for me, it'd be like, okay, originally I had enough material for like an hour, and that was all the material I had. And it was all on visualizations, goal setting, all the kind of practical stuff that is definitely more mindset than mental health. And that was what all I wanted to do originally. And I wanted to be like, that's why I'm Mindset by Dave and not Mental Health by Dave. Is originally I thought I'm going to help people with like organization, with goal setting,
But a mindset is part of mental health, though.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so that was what I started with. And then along the way, I'd just have thoughts and I'd have ideas and I'd turn them into videos. And at the time, the only place that you could post sort of regular videos was Instagram, and they had to be a minute, or less. It was before Instagram, IGTV came out. It was before Shorts were anywhere. It was when TikTok was still called Musical.ly and all that. It was so I don't give short answers, as that's one of my kind of things.
I don't give short answers either. I'm very long-winded. I'm sure
that's one of my my things. And so that really helped me kind of work on that area, was the fact that I couldn't go over a minute. And so that made me help me suddenly. Now I've got to be focused. I've got to kind of chop off some of the kind of excess from the things I say. So that helped again.
How did that help?
That helped because, first of all, I love having long conversations. That's why I do streams. That's why I found my place in streams. Right? I never really found my place in mental health content doing the. Because basically my Instagram, if you go back a long time, was I tried to coin the hashtag Mindset Minute, which was so it was a Mindset Minute and then a quote. And with quotes, I tend to write an essay behind every quote. So, because as far as I'm concerned, quotes are really good, except for when they're not. And they're open to so much interpretation, and you really need to kind of delve into a quote as to where the power is. A lot of quotes are good for people who see the quote and immediately get the power. That's the idea of them. That's what they're supposed to do. So I'd alternate between those things. So basically, how did it help? It helped because, especially in my presentations, I didn't know I had ADHD at the time, so I would go off on tangents and I would answer questions that nobody ever asked, and thoughts would pop into my head in the middle of a flow, and I would just like. So the slides on my presentations were not for the benefit of the audience; they were for the benefit of me to remind myself where I should be at any given time. I did write an entire script, by the way, for my first mindset presentation. It was called "Your Mind, the Greatest Cinema of All Time," and I did write an entire script for it. It had musical timings, it had everything, right? And then at the end of it, the musical timings were nice, but I needed another person to manage them, and I am woefully independent. It's like I'm to a fault. It's a bit of a problem, really. I'm like reaching out and asking for help from other people, shocking from me. So having to have my wife there and do the musical timings and stuff for me wasn't really scalable. But she turned around to me and she's like, you only went off the script about 70%. I know you only went off about 30% of the script, and the rest of it was like ad-libbed or whatever. And I was like, right, don't need a script next time then, do I? What's the point of writing a script if I'm not going to go off of it? So this is the thing, is because, and literally you've asked me a 1-2 part question and I'm still on the first part of the like this is what my answers end up being like. So how it helped me is, it's like, right, okay, if you have to be quick, if you have to be succinct, that now you have to, you can't just cut indiscriminately things out of what you're trying to say, because mental health is a nuanced thing. It's like there's so much nuance to it, and there's so much kind of context that is needed. So you can't just indiscriminately cut you've still got to manage to get the thing across. So it tested me as a creator. It tested me as a speaker, so that now I was in front of the camera, and I had to be done in a minute, because otherwise I would have to edit something out, and I didn't edit back then either. So I'm super selectively lazy. So scripting I don't do, because why bother? Editing I don't really like doing, because it's another job, isn't it? But
I hire one.
But basically, so yeah, that was how that helped. But that's the very, very long answer of how does
the question.
How did mental health shape my content? Again, content. Ultimately, I was writing content on I was writing content on personal training. And then I started writing content on mindset, because I was more interested in the mindset behind personal training, and behind like achieving goals. And then I opened up about my own mental health, and everybody that was in my community was like, more of this, please. So then I did more of that, please. And they didn't really want the more of that, please. But I'm like, okay, well, I like sharing this stuff. So, and I feel like I've never had an outlet for this before. All I've ever had so far in my life at this stage is friends who, when I try and explain it, don't quite get it. And I suddenly found this community of people online that are like, okay, actually, I get this. I understand this. Thank you for sharing this. More people need to do this. I was never getting that when I was writing songs, you know. More people need to do this. No, they weren't saying that about my music. It's like, and so yeah, how it shapes it on a day-to-day basis. This will tie very nicely into the topic of bipolar disorder. When I'm up, I'm very creative. When I'm down, I'm not. I'm very dismissive on what I'm doing. But it doesn't even necessarily mean making something. I can watch a video that I created. Let's say I created 10 videos while I was neutral. I mean, I don't spend much time at neutral, but I do spend time at neutral. That's worth noting, actually, because I didn't think I spent any time there. But let's say I create 10. I create 10 videos at neutral, and then on day 2 I'm depressed, and on day 3 I'm manic. On the depressed day, I would look at those 10 videos and think they are absolute trash. I would think they are shit.
Absolutely.
Then if I was on the manic day, I would look at the exact same content and think it is the shit. I'd be like, this is amazing. I'm posting all 10 of them now. So yeah, that's how my mental health affects my content. I'm much more prolific when I'm manic, but I do get some of the more important lessons and learnings out of being depressed. So that's the time when I kind of, if I can get through it, I do always get through it. So it's not if I can get through it. And so that's how my mental health has affected it. How has it affected my mental health? Sort of the inverse to that, really, is like, if things do well, it brings me up. If things do bad, it brings me down. I've started becoming much more pragmatic and much more detached from that now. And I see it as I call it the 4 lotteries now. So I make one piece of content and post it in 4 places now, because I was up until November, I was making a different piece of content for YouTube. I was making a different piece of content for TikTok, a different piece of content for Instagram, and I wasn't doing Hover at that point. And then obviously I'd still have to write things for Twitter. I always get Twitter and Twitch mixed up when I'm talking fast. So I'd have to write different things for Twitter. And also, so all of these things would be different, separate creations outside of my stream as well. So and then I decided that what I wanted to do was exclusively use stream clips. And that was it. I'm not creating new for any other platform, because it was exhausting me. And also I'd get so hung up on each one of those pieces of content. And I wrote this tweet the other day that said, I wish we could choose which pieces of content did well. And that seemed to really resonate with a lot of creators.
God, I feel that.
Because yeah, like, and I know you've done this before, because I remember seeing a post of yours about 7 months ago that said, "Oh, I wish my mental health tweets did as well as my shit posting." You know, it's like
yeah, basically.
It's frustrating how.
Although I have to say, slowly, I feel like Twitter is algorithming my tweets more towards folks who want to see mental health tweets, and I try to make more mental health tweets as well. Yeah, hey, Angel.
So yeah, Mindset Daddy and Waba in the same stream.
It is Mindset Daddy.
Mindset Daddy.
Daddy.
So up until November, that was really causing me problems, and the fact that I'd quite often want to step away if a series of videos did poorly in a row, or if again only the stuff that I'm throwing in is kind of filler or to attract. You've got to write. I feel you've got to write two types of content. You've got to write content that appeases is the wrong word, but vibes with your existing audience. And you've got to write other pieces of content that if someone's seeing you for the first time, it's a welcoming way into your content.
I can talk about that actually.
Go on.
Because I know about that. Okay, hold on. Before I do, there's a lot there that you gave me. A few things that I picked out that I'm trying to hold on to. How did you manage to organize getting 1,000 people to talk to you for 1 hour every single day?
It's difficult.
Yeah, imagine so. Did you just have an open recruitment poster, just come by, and if I can see you this day, then cool, and if not, come back tomorrow?
But no, it was much more organized than that. So the first year, no one gave a shit. It's no, honestly, no one gave a shit. So the first year I was okay, even in the first month, I aimed to do, it was a project called A Life a Day. And my aim was to, I was right, okay, what's my thing that I can give to people? And I was random acts of kindness, okay. So they started being sort of random acts of kindness because they were a little bit more premeditated. Mm-hmm. And I was how could I encourage myself to do more of those? And then I created this project called A Life a Day, and the idea was in 2018, I believe it was. In 2018, I was right, I am going to do one random act of kindness every single day on average. So it didn't have to be I always get one every single day. But if I wasn't going to get one on Tuesday, I needed to get two on Monday, or whatever, over the course of the year. And I was right, well, I got about a week in, and I was actually going to cancel it on New Year's Day itself. I was just unsure. And then on New Year's Day, I get this email from a guy basically saying, I'm really struggling. I feel basically saying that they felt they were going to take their own life, they're feeling suicidal and such. And I came across your podcast when you were on someone else's podcast and stuff. And he's I just really feel your voice is helpful. Is there anything else that you could point me out to do? Or is there anything else? Because on the podcast, he'd heard me shared about the time that I tried to take my own life 13 years ago. And basically, I don't know what, over this was New Year's Day 2018. And I was just I just emailed back and I was there's loads I could say, but here's my phone number, give me a call. And this was back when that wasn't such a dangerous thing for me to do because there was only one person doing it. That's why I say my DMs are occasionally open these days, because I did make myself available to everybody for a long time. And at first, it didn't overwhelm me.
I did that once upon a time. I still technically do, but no one has taken advantage of me yet. So I think that means I've managed to set pretty good boundaries here on stream. So
yeah, well, that's something I've had to do since streaming, because really, I mean, so I basically said, so then what I did is over the next few days, I just started doing little things taking my workout partner a coffee in the morning, or helping somebody else out in the gym that was putting their weights away whilst when they finished their workout, and just saying, I wasn't an employee of the gym. I worked in the gym self-employed. So I'd just help. I'd just do little things to help people out. And then it just started feeling really repetitive and really derivative. And I'm really clutching at straws to find these random acts of kindness here. So what I did was I put a post out in a group that I was in on Facebook, just saying, I'm doing this project. As part of this project, I want to offer 5 calls this month. I want to offer 5 calls this month. So I'll give an hour of my time to 5 people this month. And they can come and chat. And then 5 people took it up, and I was like, oh, this is probably the way to do it. It's like, I feel like rather than doing a random act of kindness a day, I could just do a call a day. So then when it was 5 people took it up, when I said I'm doing this every single day, crickets. It was like nobody. Like if I said, look, I've got 365 of these to do over the course of the year, give me a shout. And I got to about May, and I got to May, and I think I'd done like 20 or whatever. I was like maybe more. Maybe I was like a month's worth in by the 5th month of the year. And I was on a podcast of one of my mentors, a guy called Ben Coomber, who basically had been loving what I've been doing for a few years. He trained me in nutrition and in personal training back when I was like early in my thing. And what? There was a very confused face. What? Huh? What?
Not what you said.
Oh, okay. So yeah, and he was like, I really want you on the podcast to talk about your journey, talk about mental health, etc. And his podcast goes out to like 40,000 people. So, and he's like, is there anything you would like to kind of like plug, And I was like, instead of plugging my socials, I just said, yeah, I'm doing this project called A Life a Day, where I'm offering a call a day to anyone, and so basically to anybody who wants it, and with 3 promises. Number 1 is that it's completely confidential, so I won't I won't even tell people that you've had one of these calls. Number 2, I've forgotten what number 2 was. Oh yeah, number 2 is I won't use it for like a bunch of testimonies or anything. You won't find your story popping up all over the internet. And number 3, I'm not a therapist, exactly, etc. It's all mindset. I don't know to what level I'll be able to help, but I'll help to the best of my own ability. And then cue 120 calls, like in a really short space of time. And because I was behind, I basically scheduled in about 10 a day for about 10 days, caught up quite nicely, and then from that kind of word started spreading quite well. And then later on in that year, I was on a different person's podcast, a guy called Scott Bapty, and again that really kicked things off. And by November, I'd got ahead so much that I finished it at 365 on about the 10th of November that year.
That's pretty awesome.
And basically, one of my the guy who organized my website at the time, he's like, you're gonna stop when you get to 365, right? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, you're not, are you? And I'm like, I don't know, but I decided not to cheapen it by stopping at 365. But what I also decided was in year 2 I'm going to do it again. And
all right.
But the proviso was in year 2 it was called A Life a Day, pay it forward. It's 3 same promises from me. Those 2 promises I said then were all part of the same thing. It was it's confidential, so you not only will I not say anything, but I won't post anything about it. The first promise was I won't try and sell you anything. So like you won't. I was never ever a gateway call to a sales drop or anything like that, because I hate that. I hate that so much when people give things out for free just to get you kind of in their ecosystem. And Is that
what I do?
What, do a free stream so that people will then buy Waba cookies?
Yeah, I do free streams where we provide live support and love to folks, and in exchange they give me their viewership and love and fandom and join my community. Is Twitch just an elaborate social manipulation? I mean, it is. I mean, like, bigger streamers definitely do that. But like, is mine like an elaborate pyramid scheme of like, yes, we're going to love you and treat you well with support and love, and you'll never want to leave? It's networking. It's a cult. It's both. It's both.
It's cool.
Spread Wabaology everywhere.
So yeah, then when year 2 rolled around, it was easier to fill because I had a reputation at that point. And in year 2, I basically asked every single person that I spoke to pay it forward. And then a lot of people would write back to me with what they paid it forward with and stuff. It was always a joke. I said, it can be buying someone a coffee or it can be starting an orphanage. I said, don't worry, I'm not expecting anybody to start an orphanage. I was like, except for that one hyper-competitive person that really wants to win this. Someone started an orphanage. And it was a joke, and then but it did happen. Someone built a treehouse and gave out and did yoga retreats there and give spaces on them for free. There was all sorts of things that happened. A lot of people did stuff for animals. But yeah, so that and then in year 3 it was called A Life a Day It Takes a Village, where I had a bunch of other coaches, and I don't just mean mindset coaches, I mean like health coaches, personal trainers, sports therapists, all sorts of people giving away stuff as well, which we were doing great with until COVID hit, and then we weren't doing so great with it. But I carried on and did my 365 people that year, which was again easy to find because that was the year I started streaming. So you suddenly we used to actually have it come up in on the timer in the chat, which was everyone used to, my mods used to occasionally put exclamation mark salad because it was called A Life a Day, ALAD, so it'd be exclamation mark alad, and everyone, so then it became a bit of an in joke saying that it was like exclamation mark salad. And so it was hard at first. Then basically I used to just have to say, I've not got any of these for another 3 months. And like, but people would, because it reopened on January the 1st every year. And January the 1st, I'd have 100 emails on the second 2 years. No one cared at all on the first year, but the interesting thing about it is that, speaking of no one cared, never ever did any of it for clout. But by the second year, maybe even I think it might have been towards the end of the second year, because I thought for the It Takes a Village year, it'd be really good to have like organizations on board with this, giving out things. Imagine how big you could actually take it, right?
That's true.
So I wrote a few press things and never got anything, and then I hired a press person to basically pose this as an article, as a concept to a lot of different press organizations, and not a single one of them picked it up. Not a single one. It's like there's a person here giving, and again, I wasn't doing it for that in the slightest, but I was really, because once I was at that point, I thought it'd be really good to have a little bit of clout. It wasn't called clout then because I wasn't in the kind of the Twitch space.
Attention,
it was called,
really.
It was called attention or whatever, esteem. It'd be nice to have like a higher profile for this, so that because the only thing that stops a lot of things from going further is the size of their profile. Like, so I don't really have a problem with when people say about clout chasing and stuff. I don't really have a problem with that. I mean, I joke about it saying it's clout chasing for mental health. I'm not clout chasing for me, but I don't have a problem with that because I think a lot of mental health content would go a hell of a lot further if it had the higher profile. And that's annoying. I hate the fact that celebrity status or anything like that makes an impact.
You were having that rant on stream before as well, and I totally fucking agree with you. Like, if like The Rock just like randomly tweeted out mental health matters, everyone would be like, oh my god, like let's fucking like give him another Emmy. Let's go.
It's
like
crises.
It's crises this year. Celebrity.
Yeah, it is true. It's true. And I saw it earlier today. Actually, there's I can't remember who it was, but there was someone whose streams I'd never come across before, who doesn't really talk about mental health, who's doing a month of mental health content for March, and has got a few partners and stuff on. So the person's not a partner themselves. I wish I'd have made a mental note of who it was, but the person's not a partner themselves, but they've got a bunch of like partners coming on and talking about Twitch partners coming on and talking about mental health, and it's like. It's kind of like if let's say all the Twitch partners, let's say like 5 Twitch partners right now who never talk about mental health and actually let's say even their content's not even good for mental health, right? As a general rule, if they all did a mental health month or whatever together, be huge. It'd be absolutely huge.
What?
And it's like, it's what, meanwhile, people who do solely mental health content, it's a very slow and difficult way to grow.
Yep.
But at least I know that when we get there, it's going to be an authentic, organically grown thing where we don't have to be something different when we get there or whatever. You know, it's like,
yeah, I feel like so this is like my constant dilemma with content creation as a whole. I feel like a lot of the folks that are big and kind of like, you know, follow the trends and grow that way by just following trends and just doing shit even if they might not even enjoy it. They're just like, well, it's all a fucking joke anyway, and like, oh yeah, 1,000 fucking likes and 10,000 likes, etc. so forth, and they just like keep growing from that hype, you know.
Yeah.
Do the ends justify the means? You know what I mean? And to me and to you, I'm just like, no, I'd rather grow slow and steady and organically and make sure everyone knows what we stand for here and that we've curated a nice, loving community.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want... Yeah. Just literally just that. I don't want fame at the cost of... I'm not going to say abusing other people, but like manipulating the masses, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Because that does happen a lot. Like, obviously, like we've encountered a lot of that kind of shit, obviously. But,
yeah,
I don't know. I have a lot of like thoughts about it, but it mostly just ends up being fuck people who do shit for clout and then they fucking proceed to succeed, and I'm like, ugh, I wish you fucking wouldn't though.
That is the issue. That's the issue. Is it works?
Is that it fucking works? Yeah.
Yeah. That's the problem. Is it works?
Fame at the cost of morals is worthless, except it obviously is worth something because people are able to literally have monetary success because they just ride that wave of numbers, and
yeah,
I hate it. It kind of makes me sick to my stomach a bit. Especially like drama react content like that. Like, it seems so icky, and I get it. Like, all right, you're here to have fun, you're here to be an entertainer and stuff. But like, shit, if you're just reacting to content, like you're not even creating content, you're just reacting, and be like, oh, check this out, like just fucking algorithm with the right hashtags and the fucking song or whatever, just be like, and then other streamers clips, like I've seen that a million times.
Yeah, well, it's like, so I know you're I was going to use the word anti-hover, but you're just not vibing with hover, yeah. Or you're actually anti-hover. Okay, that's where you align. I'm an
anti. I am anti-hover because I am anti support for support, follow for follow.
So okay,
you know,
so I've been on there for like about I've been on there for like 5 weeks now, which isn't a huge amount of time, right? But it's not that for me at all. And it's the thing is, I only interact with content. I only interact with content that I enjoy and I like, and there's actually not that much content I enjoy and I like on Hover because I enjoy and I like our type of content.
There's a better phrase for this, and I think it's more properly kind of like Hover is a quote unquote, oh, oops, unintentional funnel into the people at the top, like the top 3, 5, whatever fucking streamers, partners that created it. It's a giant clout circle jerk train.
Circle lurk.
It's a circle lurk chain. Where all the top creators basically are saying, hey, come to our platform, and we're going to funnel you into our streams because obviously you want to be in our streams when we talk about Hover. Like, ooh, Hover, that's why you're here from it. That, you know.
Yeah, there is a lot. There's a lot of that. But then, to be fair, that's
But that's not every social media. This is literally like, they created, like, there are literal people that you can attribute the creation of Hover to. And guess what? They have the most views of anyone else on that app. And if they see anyone else that's like coming up and like becoming a partner or close to partner, they'll latch onto that cloud and they reach out and they like, come at them with like, quote unquote, like good intentions of just like being like, oh, well, like, let us be your friend. Like, you seem so cool and your content seems awesome. They'll fucking pump them up so they can pump their own fucking numbers up. And eventually, and I think they've reached that point where, they've started attracting just the general audience of Twitch. They've attracted that general audience of Twitch. They don't have to necessarily rely on Hover viewers pumping them up. Are they going to stop though? Probably not, because it's something that, like, in theory, if it keeps growing, then they're going to keep growing. So again, it continues to just clout chase, and they can continue to clout chase, continues to fund their clout chasing because they got fucking Code Miko to come on Hover's next top streamer or whatever. Giveaways are great for short-term engagement, but the long-term engagement is, hey, come to our platform because it's going to help pump up your numbers. Like, and it just keeps going. It's an endless circle jerk. Sorry. I had to go off a bit about it because I was.
It's okay. Anyways, so far my experience has been positive. But as you've just mentioned, next top streamer is now open, and I thought, yeah, this isn't for me. And then I was like, but why not? However, so the interesting thing for me is come up with the fact that, like, I've looked through the suggestions on what your clips should be and all the rest of it, and it does all. It's like it should be. And I'm going in with a very different approach, by the way. And if it doesn't get anywhere, it doesn't get anywhere. But I'm going in with a very me approach, because I actually think that mental health content deserves to be the next top streamer. Spoiler alert. It's like I might be totally and utterly playing on the friggin' John F. Kennedy, don't think of what your country can do for you, but think of what you can do for your country kind of thing. Like, be going in and being like, look, why I should be next top streamer is not because of what you can do for me, it's what I can do for you. So, like, I'm going in with that type of approach. But it's like, okay, if you look at clips and stuff that do well though, it's all super fast, like this tiny little, like, there's 3 seconds where someone just goes, what? And then yeah, great, cool. And that's the whole thing, is that it's like, okay, I'm growing over there slowly, but the people that do come into my content on there are like, holy crap, where's this been? Like, where has this been? And I was like, there's a lot of it. It's like, it's like, I can introduce you to a few folks if you want, and that's the whole thing, is the idea that's why I said before, why I like podcasts and why I like interviews and why I like streams, is because we get to do all of that nuance, and because we get to do all that. But the thing is that different social media platforms in that seem to want content in a certain way in order for it to actually do well, and it's finding that balance, I think, between, and I don't jump on trends at all. I'm trying to think of it. You do.
I do if I want to. Like, the Markiplier Smash or Pass Pokemon, I was like, that's fucking hilarious. I love Markiplier. I love Pokemon. Fuck it, let's do it. And then we got 2 other ideas yesterday that we recorded, and one is out on YouTube, which is Smash or Pass NFTs. and then we did Smash or Pass Dungeons and Dragons monsters.
I saw the Dungeons and Dragons one.
Did you? You were there?
I wasn't there. I saw the.
You must have been.
No, I saw you put a post up about it on Twitter.
I might have tweeted about it. Yeah,
maybe.
I didn't put it up on YouTube yet.
Oh, okay. So yeah, okay. So yeah, it's So how has it all affected me? It's great. It's wonderful. Let's keep content coming. I don't know. It's, as I say, now my the quadruple lottery, as I kind of said before, is that I make one clip, and I've got it down to a fine art now. I have a button on. I know when I'm going to say something that's clippable, you see. So I've got a button on my stream deck that switches off the music, switches off the sound alerts, because people love throwing up sound alerts in the middle of me saying something important. So it switches off the music, switches off the sound alerts, starts recording. And then, hopefully a minute later or less, I press that button again and it reverses all of that stuff. Then all I have to do is trim that a little bit, and trim it a little bit, and then I put Stream Beats music. Because it turns off the music, I put a Stream Beats music on in the background, so that when I go to Instagram or when I go to TikTok, I don't have to find one of theirs. And then I generate the captions on my computer, so the captions are on all 4 platforms. And then I basically put the exact same video up to YouTube, TikTok, Instagram Reels, and Hover. And I've recently started putting them on my personal Facebook Reels as well. So that's now. And the way I see it is, I'm doing the exact same amount of work I was doing for one platform in November. So that's how much work I would have done to make a short for YouTube, or that's how much work I would have done to make one TikTok, right? Now I'm basically doing that exact same amount of work, and the only extra work is the time it takes me to post them. And I do that with a copy and paste caption as well, usually. So yeah, that's the way I've now begun to manage my mental health around content. And I know, like, I've read things in the past that talk about making content to be more native to different platforms. So, like, following TikTok trends on TikTok, following more hover type trends on hover, Instagram trends and being different to TikTok trends, YouTube being different again. And I was just like, you know what? That's exhausting me. And that would literally eventually lead to me going, fuck this shit, I'm out. That would have eventually have led to me being like, I'm not doing content anymore. And
I have another question though. Why? Because I know you talk a lot, and that's fine. I like it. Like, I fucking enjoy this. Like, I've probably been listening more in this interview than I have in pretty much any other interview I've done for Mental Health Monday, which is awesome. I love it when my guests talk. But you said before that, like, you liked how keeping it to a minute like helped focus you in on like what the most important aspects, I guess, of what you're trying to convey is, right?
Yeah.
Do you still feel like you still need to keep within a minute? Like, do you need to post onto like TikTok, Instagram? Oh, I don't know which ones you post on. TikTok, Instagram, Hover, and YouTube Shorts, I guess.
Yeah. So what nearly threw a spanner in the works for that for me was that TikTok upped their limit to 3 minutes, and today they've just upped it to 10. So
wait, what's this?
TikTok have just upped the limit of a TikTok to 10 minutes today.
Oh yeah, I know they had like 3-minute ones.
Yeah, so there was 3-minute ones.
Anyone gonna stick around for a 10-minute one when you've built a platform that's mostly just like short content? Probably not.
Exactly. So yes. Let's put it this way. This is like the thing I quite like about it now is seeing if any of them pop on all 4, which is very rare. It's like very, very rare for a piece of content to do well on all 4 platforms. And the ones, quite often the ones I don't want to post are the ones that do well. So I did a great one, he says, talking about his own content, about how to kind of like focus our minds in the current circumstances, whether that's like people on our side of the world looking towards Ukraine, whether it's people on your side of the world looking towards Texas, whether it's, with all the shit that's happened in this last week, there's a lot. So there's a lot, and it's extremely overwhelming. And that post did about 300, did about 300 views on Instagram, and I was like, this needs to do better. So I just spammed it in my story for like 3 days, and I managed to get it up to 1458 in the space of like 3 days. And then today I put this one about overwhelm up that I had to trim down to make it under a minute, and I wasn't even sure I had a salient point by the end of it, and it hit 1800 in about 3 minutes of it being up. And it's like, and actually now looking at my Instagram one, there was one I did the other day about suicidal people aren't being selfish, because I hate when people throw that did well as well. But then then you have loads that you think these are going to be amazing and they just don't go anywhere. Then on Hover, the one I've got 2 that have done their best on Hover so far, right? One of them's on about 4,000 views and the other one's just coming up to 1,000 now. And the 4,000 views one is literally, and I'll do it the rhythm that I originally said it as on stream, and then I'll show you the rhythm that it ended up as being in the edit, which is basically because, again, I take my time, and even though I say a lot of words, I take my time and I'm measured a lot of the time. So on stream, I said, don't confuse what is difficult with what is impossible. So all that space, all that emphasis. For Hover, I did it as don't confuse what is difficult with what it basically cut all the gaps out so it's right there. And instead of having the usual captions that I have on the bottom of them, I put each word up massive on the screen. And that's like a 5-second clip, and it did like 4,000 people. And I was like, okay, it is a powerful statement, right? But it's nowhere near as powerful as the big one that I did about tending to the part of the garden you can touch, which is like, when you feel you're in a world of overwhelm and you feel like you can't do anything, that's because we're focusing on the parts of things that we can't actually change. And there is always going to be so many of those. And when you do that, it is very easy to think that you cannot change anything in reality. And what that does is it stops us from focusing on the things that we can change. I've had this conversation with a bunch of people over the last few weeks.
Actually, with that, do you ever feel kind of hopeless with discovery on Twitch / like trying to get YouTube to notice you? Like how do you think about those kind of things?
Again, historically, yes. So I would say not so much on Twitch, because I think when maybe everybody grows faster everywhere else, but
sure,
I grow fastest on Twitch. That's where I grow.
Why do you think you grow the fastest on Twitch?
Because
I know the answer, but
because Twitch is the right platform for me. Twitch is the right platform for people for having longer conversations. People anticipate and expect long form conversations on Twitch.
Correct answer.
Like if people want to say like, Twitch isn't discoverable. Having a podcast. I've had a podcast for 5 years. My podcasts get like 150 downloads per episode, right? Now, after 5 years, that's what they got 1 year in. Like 1 year in, I probably hit my peak with my podcast, and that because I only had the one media outlet back then. So I used to when I hit that peak, I was like, right, let's do 2 a week for a few weeks and just really pile those numbers in, which probably pushed a few people away. But yeah, so my podcast again is like I've been consistently doing my podcast for 5 years, and there is zero discoverability on podcasts, like none. There's not that's like so when people say there's no discoverability on Twitch, again, I'm lucky in the fact that there's not as many people doing what I do or what you do. In fact, I don't know of another 100% mental health streamer anymore, because I don't play games, I don't do variety content, I just do mental health chats. That's it. There was Adam, and then Adam basically pulled up a second channel so that he could always still say that on his on up for the challenge that it was 100% mental health. The bugger, he didn't want me being the only one, but he's not streaming at the minute. So yeah, so I think that's kind of like that's. My content stands out a little bit more. I'm not like in Overwatch. I mean, I'm still in Just Chatting, but a lot of people do search mental health, and often you get ASMR and hot tub streams when you search mental health. Not sure, but I have the words mental health at the beginning of every single one of my stream channels, and I have things like mental health drop-in chat or mental health peer support, and then I put you can talk about your mental health here because of the conversation that we've had a million times about.
Actually, this is where I used your saying before, because like we were having it was literally yesterday, we were just having a chat. We were like playing Stardew Valley or something, and we were having a laugh about something. And one of my longtime viewers came in and said, "Oh, hey, Waba, how's it going? I don't want to bring the chat down with like what's going on with me and this and that. So like I see you're all having fun." And I like literally was like, "Hey, mate, like that's fine. Like I'm just gonna like borrow Dave's appropriate vibes only. Like wherever you're at, that's what's appropriate for you. So like if you want to talk about something, like we will give you some love and support, because that's literally what my community is about. And to like deny you, I feel would go against what I'm for,
Yeah.
And he did. And he talked and he said like, this is what's going on. And we were like, well, shit, dude. Like we're here for you and we give you love and stuff. And like here, like let's make a plan together of like what we can do about this. And it was great. It was a great moment because they said they felt better afterwards. And like, all right, they're glad they came here. Like despite the fact that we were like in a jovial mood before. And I was like, that's fine. We can still be jovial, but like, if we need to talk, we need to talk. It was great. It was really wholesome. Yeah, agreed.
Good stuff. Yeah. That's what it's all about, I think. Well, for me, it is anyway. And again, that's one of the big changes in my attitude is that we've seen in the last 2 years since I've been on here is I kind of went through that whole cycle again of thinking this is how it should be done, and then remembering who am I to tell anyone how anything should be done. And that's the whole thing is that we need to have different spaces. Someone posted earlier saying it was a friend of Emma's, Imagination, and they posted saying that they wish that instead of a just chatting section, there was like multiple of those. I know I've always said there should be more than one mental health tag, but it's like conversation section and then subsections within that. Because just chatting can be just casually chatting, but conversations we're having conversations.
I mean, that's why I put my Mental Health Monday chats and just chatting. Like they used to be in podcasts before, because folks told me like I would get like a better audience, or like not a better audience, but like a more focused audience there. And I said, yeah, maybe, but like the category discoverability is shit. Like it's already shit because we're like low viewer, I guess, all things considered, we're pretty low viewer. And I don't see a lot of other mental health stuff in podcasts, so I'm just like, whatever, it's a just chatting stream. And I prefer just chatting because I feel like that's more discoverability because there's more viewers than just chatting.
Definitely. So yeah, it's hard. It's just hard. It's hard to know where to do it. But I think that's why I've grown more on Twitch than anywhere else, and quicker. Like I've been on YouTube for like 7 years, and I was doing originally personal training content over there before it moved over to what I'm doing now. But like I've got double the thing on Twitch. I've got double the followers on Twitch that I've got on YouTube, and I've had my Twitter for 12 years. Yeah, and I've got more on Twitch than I've got on Twitter.
So I'm about to have a conversation tomorrow with Alex Normaki because I adore her, and I've been feeling kind of down about my own like discoverability stuff. But when you were saying before that like Twitch is the best platform that you grow on for your kind of community, and I agree completely because you're really great at holding conversations and having a chat that's like so willing to talk about their mental health constantly, and I appreciate that, and I kind of want that a lot more from my chat, I guess, sometimes. So I guess I should probably put in my titles mental health more because it's always in my tags now. Like my tags are pretty much set in fucking stone at this point. LGBTQI plus because I'm queer and pansexual, non-binary, mental health, autistic because I'm autistic. I switched over to cozy because I think we can be cozy at times. And then today we have charity, and this couple weeks we have charity because we're doing charity stream for Transgender Law Center. If you want to donate, here's the charity link, or share it with your friends. Hashtag fucking shameless promotion. And then charity, I've switched up my last tag a few times from like queer to non-binary, and now I'm gonna stick with neurodivergent because I think that's very, very accurate. Most of us here are very neurodivergent.
Yeah.
I prefer cozy over safe space. Yeah, I got rid of safe space a bit ago because I prefer open talk space. So
yeah,
open talk space and LGBTQ safe space because it's absolutely safe to be part of the LGBTQI plus here. And we're absolutely free to talk openly about our mental health. Angel, I read your whole thing, and that's fucked. It's very fucked, and I completely understand your concern. I'm so glad for you to be back. Welcome in, Angel. Are you okay with being called Angel? So we don't attract undue attention. And do you also want me to delete your messages? Okay, Angel's just fine. Also, this goes up on YouTube. I'm concerned. Do I need to edit this one? Let me know. Also, Cry was talking before about Hover as well. I don't know if you caught that.
I did not. I cannot
Um,
follow chat whilst listening. While
Oh, I mean, I
That's
can
like-
follow chat while listening at least. I mean, Cryo has been very, very against Hover from the get-go, and reasonably so. Like, I knew it was complete shit from when I first like heard about it. Like, I was happy for my friend for like doing it and stuff, but I heard about it before then. I was always like, meh, meh. Like, this is so stinky. So basically, Kai's point of view is just like, don't feed the beast of it, you know? There's receipts about like the awful toxic behavior that the leaders have engaged in, including, you know, letting their viewers and their people that are literally on there with hateful, ableist kind of content, including R-slur and stuff like that, mass reporting, all that crap. And then they just like deny. And then the Gravity, whole situation of Gravity. Although they supposedly removed it now, though apparently Rob is saying no, they have not.
They've removed it having an impact on the. It doesn't have an impact on the algorithm. It's just still there,
which is weird.
They're considering like when the app's more evolved, like having different unlocks like skins and stuff, so the Gravity still does something. They're still trying to encourage interaction, because the day that they removed Gravity from the algorithm, interaction did plummet like a lot.
Okay.
At the end of the day, for me, it's a tool. It's a tool that I'm.
No, that's not a thing on the channel anymore. Cry, by the way.
It's like basically it's a tool for me. I've met some cool people through there. They're not the people at the top.
No, absolutely. I think at the end of the day, it can be used in an ethical way. I just don't want to contribute to it. And like anything, like it can be a tool to connect with like other people. If you just like scroll it, just like TikTok, just like Twitter, you know, you can connect with other people, other communities that way. And what we were also talking about way further in chat was just like the whole thing with like what I was saying, which is just like, you know, you shouldn't expect to like obtain clout, just, you know, because like I asked you to come talk with me because I wanted to talk with you, but I also knew that like some folks from your community might come over and listen to our interview, which is awesome. That's great. I fucking love them for doing that, and I appreciate them being here. Do I expect them to like join my community and be like a staple and fucking financially support me and send me $50 on PayPal?
Absolutely.
No. I mean, listen, I'm not gonna say no to $100 on PayPal, but I don't expect anyone from your community to come over here and send me $300 on PayPal. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Well, like, you don't expect it. I'm just fucking here to put out content. This is my whole thing. Is like, if you want to be, this is how I call myself an ethical content creator. It's just like, I just put out content. That's it. That's fucking it. We fucking put out content. We don't try to clout chase. And like, if you're doing collabs for clout chasing, I think you're going about it the wrong way, and don't be fucking friends with me. You know, like I do collabs because I want to collab with a person. Like I'm interested in talking to them. I'm interested in interacting with them. I know them pretty well. They're my friend or whatever, you know, or they're gonna be my friend. Like,
well, let's put it this way: unless if like partner streamers and such, unless they have a mental health story to share, it's like then I'm not going to collab with them, right? And that's the whole thing. I'm collabing based on the story or based on what they have to share. The numbers become a secondary thing. And don't get me wrong, I'd be lying if I didn't say that if someone with huge numbers plus a big story to share didn't want to be on the show, I wouldn't be absolutely giddy about it. Because again, the rising tide like raises all ships, you know, and but it's like, but at the end of the day, it's like you've probably heard me talk on this before. It's like if I've always said that if I go on to other people's shows or if I have other people on my show, first of all, my audience tends to travel to people that come on my show rather than people whose shows I go on. So it's usually, if you're being a talk show host, actually, I think I think being a host, you actually stand more chance of losing. Well, not losing, but your audience finding someone new.
No, I agree.
And you have much more chance of people finding you when you're on someone else's show.
I absolutely agree, and I don't know why that is.
I can tell you why it is if you want.
I have theories. Yeah, go for it.
So basically, a couple of my audience will come over here. So we've had Robin and we've had Scrooge in for a little bit, right? A few of my audience will come over here. Some of them that are not sleeping well, they might come over here because
my community is full of insomniac Europeans. If you're an insomniac European, be sure to press that follow button.
But like the thing is, not many of my audience will come to not two things. Not number one is not many of my audience will come to hear me be interviewed as much as they will be in my stream while I'm interviewing people, because they've probably at first, if it's the first time I'm being interviewed elsewhere, then we had the first time it happened, we had loads of them come. But then over time, it's like, well, we know that they're probably going to go over the same stuff we've heard with Dave. We know that and the second part of it is, as an interviewer, if you're doing your job right, the audience doesn't get to see much. The traveling audience doesn't get to see much of you, or hear much from you, because you're keeping the focus on your guest.
Okay.
Fair enough. As a result, it's much more of a showcase for you to be on someone else's channel than it is for someone else to be on yours. So that's the kind of like the two big reasons. And it's about having an engaged audience, because I said about when I was doing that a life a day thing, when I was on a couple of podcasts, the requests came in like huge. I also went on local radio about it, and by local I mean like Liverpool, which is like the third biggest city in the UK. It's like so it's not exactly a small city. Didn't get a single. My sisters listened, but I didn't get a single call off the back of that, like not one. And it's like, because if you think about active versus passive listening, a radio station people have on in the background while they're in the car and whatever, whereas a podcast, like people or like a person is into that show, they've chosen to put that show on, and they like that host and the guests that they bring on. So it's how the people are engaged with it, really. Exclamation mark ban Dave, what for?
I'm banning you because you didn't advertise me in your Discord, and obviously you have to do that. If you don't do that, then what's the worth in having you as a guest? Rada, fucking sarcasm.
Oops.
I
dropped the ball, right? I was asleep.
Wow, sleeping? I don't know.
Sleeping at 9 p.m. That's
taking
unusual
care of yourself, Dave. That's not allowed here. We don't promote self-care.
I put it on Twitter.
We promote views. I want my 100 clouts, please. 100 clouts, please. No, yeah, but
that is my bad. Normally, I put it in the going live notification as well, because people look in there.
No, I give a shit more about the conversation. So I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you, though. About what you were just fucking talking about. Fuck me, I joked around too much that I lost it. God, what were we just on about?
Being a host versus
being a host versus being interviewed. Yeah, I completely agree. However, while I agree, I will also agree to disagree, because I think and me and Cry know this very, very personally, unfortunately. There are certain interview shows out there that are set up in a way so that, they literally do this. They literally actually sincerely mean the thing, when they're just like, you better fucking post this on your Discord, and you gotta tell everyone and post it on all 5 of your fucking platforms. Like, they don't curse so much, but they just press you to self-promote the fuck out of them and raid into them and this, that, and the other thing, Yeah. And they literally do it for clout. And they might come at you it's in some way of saying well, actually, this is my job and stuff, and I could really use the extra attention, and I'm bad down on my luck or whatever, and they make up a story, whatever. And they have 50 people come on. I was once invited on a supposedly a mental health talk show, or a sex mental health talk show, and it was gonna be like me and like I think 20 other guests, I believe, at the same time. And like they had like this giant Google form doc telling you about like the premise and the content that you're expected to give them while there. And like part of that was promoting it in your Discord and on Instagram and on your socials, and that like you're not allowed to talk for more than a minute or two, because you have to allow other people to talk. And like, so if you if you have a story, keep it short and sweet, and keep it only to the entertaining details. And I was just like, holy fucking shit, this is so fucking stupid. And like people fucking do that still with like 6 guests and just be like, promote the fuck out of me, and then they quote unquote outperform their guests and just like literally are on physically, pictured on top of their other guests and being like, well, I'm so great and yuck. And I'm Seth Rogen and I'm so fucking great. yuck. Sorry, that was a little bit too on the nose there, but but yeah, literally that shit.
Have I missed something? Does Seth Rogen have a Twitch stream?
Yeah, he does.
Really?
There's I'll tell you later. But yeah, there's people that do that literally I call it community scalping. Really, that's what it is. It's a community scalping interview about bullshit, or they make it sound important enough so like more people click on the stream, so they can get their fucking 5 minutes of clout and increase numbers. Yeah, community fishing, community scalping, it's all the same.
Yeah, well, again, there's a difference between knowing that there's a percentage of people that will travel, and that's okay. And I've always said that if one of my audience, if you or Cry or anybody else comes onto my channel and one of my audience prefer, like Adam, it's happened a billion times, that if they come onto my channel and people prefer the way that they deliver stuff, or if they fit them with their time schedule more, or if they want a content creator that plays games, or whatever it might be, and they are better served by the guests that I've had on than they are by me, then I'm selfish for wanting to keep them. It's like, and I've always said that. And I'll stand by that forever. And I kind of always hope that if it happens the other way round, that people will think that, because I'm not interested in stealing anybody's viewers or anything like that. But I am aware of the fact that. But at the same time, I intend to give a good interview whenever I go on someone's channel. I go on with the intention to do a good job of getting the words out of my face. So and I try to kind of like, especially if I'm on for a specific like topic or whatever, I try to make that both informative and educational, and
I feel like I have to apologize to you now, because like this is I posed this to you as talk about bipolar.
We've got another
hour, and we've talked only really about like what my other topic is, which is just like, how has content creation affected your mental health, and how has mental health affected your content creation? Yeah,
I know, but I love talking about that, especially with other content creators, but also with other content creators who are open about their mental health. Like, because there's a lot of content creators that I'll be like, yeah, it's fine, you just got to grind. Grind mentality is not. It's not.
Ooh, you want my fucking? I like this. Hold on. Can I tell you something?
A great metaphor.
Do I want a great metaphor? Sure.
Why grind when you can sculpt? Think about the difference.
Oh shit! I'm adding that shit.
No, that's mine. Trademark Mindset Daddy. But think about the difference between grinding and sculpting. Grinding is like literally just like basically grinding away at something just relentlessly, but with like just with sheer force, and like we're like for hours or days or weeks at a time, like with no real full indication of where you're going. Whereas a sculptor is working towards a goal, a specific goal.
By you. I only said 4 words. 4 words is all it takes.
So when sculpting,
Yeah.
The person, every strike of the hammer and chisel is deliberate, because you knock something off. You can't exactly just glue it back on. It's like, so so it's about having a vision. It's about being careful. It's about being meticulous, and about taking your time with it. So the grind mentality is just like, oh, if I just do enough of this, it'll eventually do it. Where it's like the sculpt mentality is, okay, how can I do this in a way that is going to be beautiful, in a way that is going to produce a beautiful end result?
I completely fucking agree with you, and that's definitely what we do here, is that we sculpt a beautiful community of folks that really just care about one another at the end of the day. Like, that's what a support system is. So that's how I feel about my community, for sure. And I really appreciate that quote, because that kind of helps me, and I feel like that can help other people. Like, here's my whole thing with like the whole like mental health talk about like being a creator and how it affects your mental health. I think everyone can kind of relate a little bit, because we all create content in one way or another, whether that's like we're doing something at our job and like we have to like write a report, or like we're in school and we have an assignment. Like, we're all creating something. We're all putting ourselves up to be judged in some way, shape, or form. Even if no one is like actually physically judging you, they don't put like a letter grade or anything, you're still gonna feel judged because you're putting something out into the world. And whether that's yourself or something written down or physical or what have you, like a mason or whatever, you're still putting it out there. You're still putting a part of yourself out there. So I like that. It's very grounding. It's very like makes you take a pause and be like, yeah, you know what? I am doing this with intention. This is a tweet that if I haven't bookmarked it again, I'm going to bookmark it. I'm going to just like retweet this out every so often. Which is the 3 biggest mental health problems. This is a tweet that I put out on the 26th. 3 biggest mental health problems streamers and content creators face can be boiled down to these things, to this: imposter syndrome, I'm not a real creator; burnout, at the same time I did too much; and grind culture, but I need to do more. Like, I feel like those 3 things everyone can connect with.
Yeah, for me, the number one thing for me has always been, think about like obviously being an introvert versus being an extrovert and stuff, right? And is like the idea is that an extrovert can just keep on going, providing they're getting the feedback, right? So providing they got stimulus, an extrovert can just keep on going. Whereas an introvert, no matter how much stimulus they're getting, eventually they're going to burn out and get tired, right? I am an introvert when it comes to like life in general. Like, I like to be in the spotlight, but then I like to shy away from it and go to my cave and sleep for a while. But when it comes to content creation, I think that if the stuff was doing well, I could just, or if I felt like that what I got out was linear, or at least related to what I put in, I think it'd be so much easier. I mean, it might not. I might just get entitled and want more, but generally speaking,
it's not a bad thing to want more, but I think it can be a very toxic thing to yourself to expect more and be or even be disappointed with what you don't get. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I like to believe that you get out what you put in. But in content,
you don't. Never.
Yeah.
Absolutely fucking lie. You do not get out what you put in. Because I put in my heart, fucking soul, and tears into my community for the past almost 2 years now. Have I gotten the same amount back? No. Do I expect to get the same amount back? Also no. Do I want the same amount back? Yeah, absolutely. Yes, yes,
maybe
and
double.
more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's a yes and more, because I think I am worth it. I think I am worthy of people's times. I think I'm worthy of people's money. I think I'm worthy of people's attention in general. I think mental health in the big grand scheme of things is very worthy of people's time, money, and attention.
Yeah.
And what I typed in chat as well, because JV put something out that I didn't even say before, but like with like sculpting and putting stuff out in the world, also the opposite of that is if someone doesn't put out something, that is judged. We're very, very often judged for, or rather your value is tied to how much you can give. Like, this is very like capitalistic kind of mindset that most people in the world have, is like, if you're not doing something for either the community or for like, you know, the society as a whole, then you're valueless. Like, you're just a leech, you know, you're seen as this leech on society.
Is that what they meant, or is it the fact that now actually you're judged on what you don't put out, in the fact that if you don't have an opinion or a take on something, like, people are noticing who aren't speaking up?
I mean, that's also a thing. But, you know, it works both ways, right? Like, yeah, you're going to be judged for not putting out an opinion.
When you said then, it's like, that's obviously the productivity, being judged on how productive you are, which again is why we have the whole, your mental health or your abilities might fluctuate, but your value never does. Is that your value is not based on your productivity. That's like a big belief of mine.
It shouldn't be, but it often is.
But the idea,
especially with concentration,
the idea of noticing who isn't speaking up on things has very much come from our side, i.e. the left. Like the left, our side that's trying to eat itself at the minute by the looks of things, as very much something that's come from that side in the last few years. And I don't want to use the cancel culture phrase.
We've always ate ourselves though, constantly.
I know. It's a shame, isn't it?
It's part of the infighting culture, though. You know, you're always gonna have people who are saying we're not doing enough, and honestly, they're fucking right. Like, we're not doing enough. But it hurts. It definitely can hurt to split your base, you know, say so to speak. Which is, I'm gonna fucking transition this into trans rights real quick. Which is why, you know, fucking Pride. The first Pride was a riot. Fucking God bless Marsha, you know. First Pride was a riot, but then like the civil rights laws that enacted after that, it was literally just like white, you know, cis gay men being united under white cis gay men. Like, and they're like, yeah, we're going to ignore all of our trans brothers and sisters, and it's just like, but why? And they're like, because we're the majority. And it's like, okay, great. And that still fucking happens, just on a political scale of like, okay, we can all agree that like on these points, but these other points way too radical. So that's why the left starts looking like the right, or starts looking like the center, and the right starts looking like either far right fascism or they start looking like renegade Democrats. You know, politics is fucked, basically, because basically politics is fucked, and a lot of Dems end up being center or like right on some issues.
Yeah.
Sorry, our right is Republican in this party.
I know.
Yeah.
Thanks. I probably understand your politics better than ours.
Really? Yeah, I don't understand your politics at all.
We get more information on your. We get more stuff about your politics than us.
Sorry to hear about your loss of sanity. For hearing about all of our shit.
Oh, right.
Your loss of sanity.
I was gonna say, I thought you were about to say that you knew something that I didn't, which you probably do, about our politics. I've been trying to like see how long ago I actually made that sculpting thing, but I can't find it. It's like,
I mean, today I learned that Boris Johnson knows how to speak French, so like, you know, I got that going for me.
Was he speaking a bit of French today? You were speaking a bit of Russian the other day.
No, I was just watching a video because I was interested about George Bush, and that he spoke fluent Spanish, but he didn't like to speak it much.
Oh, really?
Which is very interesting to me, because like he's very well spoken in Spanish, but like in English he makes a complete fool of himself. And then it turned me into starting to watch like one half of a video about like world leaders and what languages they speak, and it turns out like a lot of them speak like a big modicum of English, but then a lot of them don't as well. Putin's English sounds so weird as well, just funny to me. He sounds so weak in English. Like, not even because like he's not good at the language, just because like, I don't know, your voice I guess changes when you speak different languages. It's wild to me. Because in Russian he's all like, and then in English he's like, yes, hello, I am the Putin on the Ritz.
Putin on the Ritz.
The Queen has COVID and Boris had a party. R4.
That's what you need to know.
Doesn't he also speak Greek? I don't fucking know.
Has the Queen still got COVID?
Does the Queen still have COVID? I don't know.
I would have thought she'd have been given the really.
She's not dead. That's just good. Although I'm kind of scared because fucking Jay Schlatt predicted the Queen's gonna die on March 14th. So we'll fucking see. He made like a bit about like, you know, March 14th is gonna be a very interesting day, and I'm like, you can't fucking say that.
Anything else happening that day?
I don't know. He did it with Philip. Let's go, Schlatt. Yeah, literally it happened, and Schlatt was like, don't take away my verified again, Twitter. Fuck, I didn't do this. March 14th is my roommate's birthday. Does that count as interesting? Yes, depending on who
March 14th is steak and blowjob day. Don't look up March 14th on Urban Dictionary.
With that, have a good night, everyone. Good night, everybody.
I just wrote TOS.
Dave,
Maybe.
get down.
What? I'm just talking about what's in the
under
calendar.
my desk.
Oh, right, okay.
I have the steak, and you have the...
I mean, is that why the stream's ended? Oh my god, I'm not going to say what I was about to say.
Say it.
No, DM me later. I was going to say, do you really want me to say it? Not break TOS? Because you want to end the stream because you don't want
Won't break TOS.
You don't want the stream to see your cum face. I'm terrible when I'm on anyone else's stream. I shouldn't be allowed.
What are you
to
talking about? We have a fucking redemption called Wabagasm.
Oh, actually, I've seen that. Good point. Maybe not seen the redemption, but I've seen clips of that face.
My creamy nudes. Dude, that was at 3 a.m. on a fucking Extra Life charity stream that I later got fucking subtweeted about. All right, so it's great. It's great fucking clout. Oh man, I should have just like called them out about it, but I was too chicken shit about it.
I found it.
What'd you find? Oh god, Wabagasm. All right, it's Wabagasm time, kids. Here we go.
Found. Oh, he's going for it. They're going for it.
Yeah, we're going for it. Here we go. There you go. Thanks for the Wabagasm.
So the best thing about that is the fact that, because obviously I've got your audio in sync, but the stream slightly behind.
Oh,
that
no.
just the sounds did not match the
echo.
face. So basically, that why grind when you can sculpt. I originally said that on the 14th of September 2016.
No, I said it on what date again?
So here's what you know. I said all of my quotes come with an essay. This is a short essay. So a lot of people these days refer into their daily life as a grind. To me, I see a grind as something that, though you may be driven by the end result, the changes in your body, the paychecks, etc., you're not exactly enjoying the process. I'm all about enjoying the process. As rather than say I am grinding, I prefer to say I'm sculpting. A sculptor takes pride in their work. Every position of the chisel is meticulous. Every strike of the hammer precise. It's a simple change in words, but to me, it's the meaning that's important. The message is simple: do what you love and love what you do.
Wait, can you send that to me somehow?
Yeah. You're on Insta, aren't you?
Yeah,
there you are.
I'm on Instagram. I'll
There you
Insta
go.
your gram.
It's Insta your inbox. I've already slid into your DMs.
Fuck yeah.
Slippy,
Whoa, that's my friend in a bikini.
Dehydrated butts.
Damn, she looks hot. We stan. Most of my friends are sex workers, so like it doesn't surprise me, but we fucking stan.
What in the hot and crispy Kentucky Fried fuck did I just come back to? We're not even talked about bipolar disorder, but
We'll get there.
we're talking about what is it? Mood disorders, and there's no disorders to our mood tonight. Thank you very much.
We have disordered moods. We're laughing about stupid shit. So when you read this, I just thought this was song lyrics, and I kind of wanted to put a backbeat to it. Can you beatbox?
Loosely.
How loose?
I have Beat Cleaver as a friend, which means I'm not really
I
splitting
like
out.
Beat Cleaver.
Beat Cleaver actually gives me full-on permission to beatbox what you want, like.
Just keep that up. Hold on, wait, shut off my music. Yeah, you're getting into it. This is great. Yeah. 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 All right, let's go. Why grind stuff when you can sculpt? A lot of people these days referring to their daily life as a grind. As a grind. As a grind. To me, I see a grind as something that, though you may be driven by the end results, let's go. The changes in your body, the paycheck, etc. You're not exactly enjoying the process. What are you doing? Why grind when you can sculpt? I'm all about enjoying the process. So see, rather than I say I'm grinding, no, we don't grind. I prefer to say I'm sculpting.
He's sculpting.
Yeah.
Sorry. Mispronounced you twice in the last 5 minutes now. I'm just gonna hide myself.
It's okay. This is the breakdown. A sculptor takes pride in his work. Every position to the chisel is meticulous. Every stroke of the hammer precise. That's right. The hammer that's precise and the strike is exactly where you need to make it. You do not craft. We do not craft. We do not grind. We sculpt. We sculpt. It's a simple change in the word, but to me, it's the meaning that is important. The message is simple: do what you love and what you do, and then you'll never have to spend a day in misery. Why grind when we can sculpt?
Beautiful. Oh, that was amazing. It's not what anybody came for, including us, but it's what we're getting.
See, this is what we talk about often: collaboration, not competition.
Exactly.
We've come full circle.
Well, we come, that's for sure. Sorry. Once it goes filthy, I find it very hard to put the toothpaste back.
I
in
love
the tube,
you. I mean, I always find it hard to put the cum paste back in the tube.
It's
Rush.
Yeah. Imagine what that would feel like. Oh.
That's just sounding with extra steps.
I've just, what's the word I'm even looking for? I've just decummed. That's the problem with being able to, this is the problem with being an empathetic person, is you can imagine things that you've never experienced.
That's true. I can too.
So,
notice how I'm not fucking disturbed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, listen, it was 2000 and something. The 3DS was looking at me a funny way.
The 3DS did look at you a funny way though, because it was kind of like let's see how high you can have the 3D slider before you want to throw up over this thing.
True. I never put it on. I was talking about the stylus mostly, but you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Doesn't feel good. For the record.
Okay.
I don't know why people are into sounding, but you know, to each their own.
Is that what that's called?
Yeah, that's what it's called. It's called sounding.
Why? Actually, do I want to know why it's called that?
I don't know. Fucking look it up.
Because of the sound you make. It's like.
I mean,
that's getting clipped, isn't it?
I just clicked the clip. Let's go.
Oh my God.
I have a button to clip the last 30 seconds, so you're welcome.
Yeah, I have one of those too. Never go back to it. Maybe I should.
Oh my God.
Because that when I said before, I know going in when I've got my pre-clip button, because pre-cum button. I've got.
Oh, you pre-clip.
I'm going to stop now. Yeah, when I pre-clip, when I can, when I'm edging, and I can. When I just know. You know that when I just know that some mind drops are about to pour out.
Yeah.
Fuck's sake, Dave. You can always stop, but Waba's laughing and it's just so validating. But anyway, that's the pre-clip button, right?
Pre-clit. Yeah.
I heard pre-clip. Yeah, sure. Why not? So yeah, my God. So I've got the pre-clip button, pre-clip with a P. So when I know I'm about to say something good, but the clip button is for when something unexpected usually happens. So, is this bipolar? Is this the mental health? Yes.
Yes, this is the mental health. Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
This is the gremlin in my fucking brain.
This is the fact that, like, you know, when you come on to give a serious talk, you turn into a sexual deviant. That's mental health for you, or is it not? Who knows?
You know what's also great?
There's an element of bipolar to do with it, actually.
Oh yeah, definitely. This is manic shit.
Go on.
I can actually tell that you're a bit tired from waking up. Like your accent has been different than your normal streams, or maybe it's just the sound quality.
I don't know. I think I'm coming over a cold. So I had a cold until.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so. Like I don't feel tired. So I mean, my voice might be tired because it's just woken up, but I don't feel as. I'm very, very glad of the nap. Like I know, like is it 2 or 3 times? I think it's 2 times that I've been here before. Usually by this point. But also this is the first time I've had you to myself, and so like I've you know, so because we had Murphy and Maury on last time I was on, and then we had Hattis and I can't remember. So
I'm surprised you remember that much.
I'm surprised too, mainly because I think I still follow all of them. So
they're cool.
So yeah.
Get Murph on for April.
So yeah. So basically, I suppose it's kind of a combination of that, really. So because normally, like, I'll be sharing the load with the other guests, right? No pun intended this time. My brain probably is still filthy. But yeah.
I appreciate you. All right, let's talk about bipolar. What the fuck is bipolar? No one knows what that is. I've never heard of it before. We never talked about it. Lies.
Yeah. What's bipolar?
I don't know.
So bipolar, as it was introduced to me at the tender age of 14 in 1996.
Oh, you're dating yourself.
So yeah, when I was diagnosed, it was the actual doctor referred to it as manic depression. So I actually didn't know the phrase. I didn't know the phrase bipolar until much later, and I'm very glad there's more resources for it now, because when I was told about it then, I was told that you will experience big highs, like hyperactivity, high energy, like higher risk-taking behavior. They never use those terms then, but they just and
so historical 96. I'm pretty sure is like DSM-4 height, pretty much, or DSM-3 even.
I'm not sure.
I'm trying to think historically, because I'm like, yeah, it was just called,
manic depression
instead, and it was also like they also correlated a lot with like psychiatric I can't think of the word, psychosis disorders, like schizophrenia.
Yeah. So yeah, and then the other side of it, I was told that I'd experienced low lows, very, very lows, and that was what I was at the doctor's for in the first place, is the fact that I'd been on and off depressed for about 2 years at that point.
Yeah, they didn't have different cycles. It was just fucking.
Yeah, since starting high school, I've been on and off depressed. Now, for me, I wasn't really depressed before high school, but I was quite often the kid that was too much, just like too noisy or too energetic or whatever it might be. And for kind of both of my parents, it was I was needed to be the quiet kid. I was needed to be out of the way. My dad worked shifts. My mum and dad were divorced from when I was 6, and my dad worked shifts. So when I was over at his house for a couple of hours a week, he slept for that couple of hours a week, so I didn't really see him at all. And so I was needed to be quiet and out of the way for him. But my mum, because my dad had left us like with nothing, was started her own business, and so she was working. She was grinding. She was either grinding or sculpting, who knows? But she was working every hour God sends, so I needed to be out of the way for her too. Which was not in my nature in the slightest, but I was a very obedient person and I was a big people pleaser, so I did it. And used to just kind of like sit in my room and go quietly insane. And by quietly insane, it was me that took myself off to the doctors when I was 14 after suffering for 2 years. And like, because I didn't think I could take it to my parents, didn't think I could speak to anybody about it, didn't think I could be a burden at all. So, as I say, that was the only information I was given about it, and I was given a very high dose of mood stabilizers. I think it was lithium at the time, and essentially went into a non-feeling state for about 2 years at that point. So, like, I was on quite heavy medication for like 2 years, but also told only about the highs and lows. And then what I experienced during that kind of once the meds kicked in stage really was just numbness. And I'm a creative person. I've played the piano since I was 6. You know, like I would draw, and all I remember doing for like those couple of years between 14 and 16 was like the first couple of seasons of Power Rangers were out, so I'd go and watch like Power Rangers, and I'd binge watch the 90s Spider-Man animated and the 90s X-Men animated. Not bad choices, to be honest. Play a lot of WCW wrestling on the PlayStation, and I'd just basically like spend a lot of time just like in a numb stupor, like playing games or listening to music, and
so you were just like properly depressed that whole time during your teenagehood.
Basically, but I was being bullied in school, and I got to the point where I felt like I had a target on my back because I started getting like assaulted by people I didn't know outside. So anytime I kind of really left the house, like I'd be assaulted by groups. Assaulted, like literally attacked, thrown to the floor again. No, I don't know. I only know of one. The worst. I won't go into like graphic detail, but the worst ever time.
You can.
I was assaulted by one person, but surrounded by about 30. Like that just wouldn't let me get away. And he took a bit of a problem with me because basically. Me and this other guy had been going to jiu-jitsu. I was assaulted by my jiu-jitsu instructor. Like,
serious?
I'm laughing about it now because this jiu-jitsu instructor ended up being very. Again, I'll try and talk about it non-stigmatically now. I would imagine he was very, very unstable. He chased his wife around the street with a samurai sword, and then he was attacked by like 14 police officers in front of my house one night. Annoyingly, I'd forgot to put my glasses on before I got out of bed that night, so I was watching this all through blurred eyes. But it's free soap opera, isn't it? But he'd like during a session basically put a really bad arm lock on me, and even though I was like tapping out and basically crying, he was like, "Oh, if you can't take this, you'll never be able to handle. You'll never be able to handle this." And I'm like a white belt, I've just started, and I'm like, I was about. I know. I was about like 10 or 11 at that time. And I literally, honestly, I just felt like wherever I went, I got picked on. Like wherever I went. Like, I stayed in. I was like, by the time I got to it, after the big assault, and by the big assault, I've not dissociated much in my life, but I dissociated after that. Like it was for like, and my mum, but this particular guy, I'd fallen out with another friend from jiu-jitsu, and then he tried to attack me on the street one time, and because we'd both been to the same jiu-jitsu, I reversed his attack and pulled his arm off his back and like pushed him away from me, and he then went and told this other kid that I'd done this to him. I stuck up for myself twice, 3 times including that, in school, and I got suspended from school both times. So the rest of the time I just took it. I had 30% attendance in my what would be 11th grade for you, I think. Well, our year 10 is what I think is what 11th grade is. So 14 to 15.
14,
or is that
15.
9th grade?
Yeah, that's like
9th. you're either one below us, like in number, or one above us. But yeah, so 14 to 15, I had like 30.
9th, 10th.
I had like 30% attendance because of all this going on. And then, yeah, and honestly, I'd just get attacked. Like, and in school, I kind of knew the reason for it, sort of. But on the street, it was like, I mean, I did live in a reasonably rough area, and I wanted my parents to not worry about me. So I didn't have any friends, so I'd just go out and walk the streets, like just to make my parents think that I was out.
If you don't Anfield, mind doxing yourself.
No, don't. Anfield and Liverpool. So, like, literally, when people mention Liverpool Football Club, the stadium, both Liverpool and Everton are in both the stadiums are in Anfield. I lived 5 roads away from both of them, so I grew up there. It was reasonably rough in the 90s, and so. But that being said, I didn't know anybody else that this was happening to. So
Do you think it happened to other people?
I've never, to this day, I mean, I've opened up about a lot of it since, and I reported all of it. Then we had the police around our house a number of occasions. I was given statements and everything. So, and I never heard of it happening to anybody else. So I don't know. That was the thing so I very much grew up with a victim's mentality because of that. Because
yeah, I would too.
Because I'd gone from one school to another where I was bullied in the first school, and then the bullying followed me to the second school, and then it was happening outside, and
I mean, literally getting jumped, like, fuck's sake.
Yeah, and there was one time that my mum's partner basically broke my glasses and by punching them off my face, and basically told my mum that I broke them. To try and get out of school.
Literally, the only thing I can think of, fucking conspiracy theory, is that your parents are not who they say they are, and everyone knows them, and so they beat up on their kid to get revenge on them or something.
No, there was none of that. There's none of that. But really pretty low key people, to be honest. My mum's kind of the embodiment of me, really. She's one of the loveliest people on the face of the planet. Would do anything for anybody, or sometimes to her own fault. My mum was devastated years later when she found out that all this was going on, when I felt I couldn't go to her, because she never told me I couldn't go to her. It was just it was always just again, stay out the way while stay out the way while I get work done.
And also just helplessness. You felt helpless complex of you're the trapped dog and you're always going to get hit.
Yeah, absolutely. And so that was and then basically I was just blaming I was blaming my environment for how I was feeling. I wasn't blaming anything internal. So I moved at 16 to the town which is near where I live now. And I had a really thick Liverpool accent, which is quite a scary accent, by the way. It talks like this, basically. And actually, in England, if you talk like that, people think you're a bit thick, but they also think you're a bit mean, and you're probably going to batter them. Batter them meaning attack, whatever. So I had that. I have that accent. Oh yeah, good point. It's called assault and battery for a reason.
Battery.
Yeah, but I'll batter you. It's just such a Scouse thing to say.
Are you gonna batter me, Dave?
Oh yeah. Oh god, we're back there, aren't we? I'm sorry, I ran out with our earlier battering. I'm a 40-year-old man.
You're 40-year-old. I can't expect you to always be ready just to batter on a moment's notice here.
Give me another few hours. So I had a shaved head. I had a shaved head and a Scouse accent. And basically, when I was in the new school, everyone either liked me or feared me. So also, I was pretty much not this exact size because I've got muscles and shit now, but which I didn't have then. But I was a big build, and I was 6 foot. By the time I was I only grew 2 more inches in my final year of high school. So,
how tall are you?
I was already 6'2".
Oh shit.
So
tall fuck, and people still fucked with you.
That was one of the reasons that people that at the time, whenever I did, people were like, oh, and this is the thing. There was always a power dynamic in the fact that I was never This I always thought, like, this is something I only realized a few years ago, is that I always thought I was weak for getting attacked all the time, right? But I was either attacked by adults, which did happen. I was attacked by groups of people, or I was attacked by people with a weapon. So in every situation, my assailants had some form of advantage over me. So yeah, and that was actually the one time that I opened up about I only ever opened up about my bullying and stuff that was happening once to my dad. And my dad's answer was, "You can't be getting bullied. Look at the size of you." So I learned very quickly, I'm not going to get taken seriously. So what's the point in opening up about it?
So shitty.
And at the time, I think that week I'd been attacked in school by a group of 12 in one go. It's like, I don't care how big you are.
Doesn't matter.
You're not overcoming 12 people. I'm not like, I was going to say, I'm not like Jackie Chan, and everyone knows that in reality, even those little routines that they do in the Kung Fu movies actually wouldn't work against 12 people at the same time. You would get overwhelmed and overnumbered.
I mean, if they came at you one at a time, then they would.
Conveniently, like they do it. Yeah, I've always thought that. Like, whenever watching something like that, I'm like, why doesn't that person punch high while that person kicks low at the exact same time? Dodge that.
I mean, maybe they just scrunch up in a ball midair, float for a little bit.
Well, exactly, yeah. Retreat into the Pokeball. but yeah, so then when I moved there, and basically this is naughty, and don't ever do this, anybody. Naughty. But I didn't, because when I moved doctors, I didn't refill my meds. I know. Don't ever do this, anybody. I had a very rough few weeks, so I ended up going a few years without any intervention from the doctors whatsoever.
A few years? So that just like fucking, that super spiraled for you.
Do you know what? So it did during the I wouldn't say it's super spiral, because what happened in the first few weeks was withdrawals and such, but I was so into my new life, my new start, the story of, I've got this new place that I'm going to, everybody likes me here, and I had friends, and friends would come over to my house, and we were a very poor family, you see, before we moved up here, and then my mum's business got to a certain level of success, and then we became a very my mum's side of the family, not my dad's side of the family, became became very wealthy. So I had like an N64 with 4 controllers and GoldenEye, so everybody wanted to come and hang out at my house, and I literally leaned into that popularity. I leaned into the and at the time, because one of the big things I've been bullied for was our lack of money. So I didn't have the money.
The truth comes out. You also grew up fucking poor.
Oh yeah, very poor.
Yeah.
but and I was bullied for we have school uniforms in the UK, so the only thing people can bully you for is really is your shoes or your coat or whatever, but still I had the cheapest of cheap shoes that you could get and such, and I was picked on for that. I was picked on for that, and as we talked about when I was on a few months back, I developed an eating disorder off of that, and then I got picked on for being overweight. And so that was then when I suddenly was in a position where the family had money, and my mum was giving me quite a bit of pocket money for the time, really.
How'd that happen though? It was a quick transition.
So as I said, my mum started a business when I was it's not that quick a transition. My mum started the business when I was 9.
Right.
Signed it became an official business by the time that I was just before I was 10. And then I was 16 by the time we moved. So it was 6 years. My mum and that was, we were at the first 2 or 3 years of that business was that was when we were our poorest. We were at our absolute poorest. My mum had lost her previous job. The car had been repossessed from outside the front of our house. We were the talk of the street, all of that stuff. So we were at our absolute poorest during that period. And then my mum, basically, she'd been overly cautiously putting money away. to one side and such, because she never knew when all this was, like, she probably had all that imposter syndrome. Then I've always wanted to get her to let me to interview her over like all of that, because she literally built a company from scratch and ended up selling it and becoming a multimillionaire.
It's pretty amazing, honestly.
Yeah, I know. And basically she was like just trying to keep a roof over her head, and such, and then as soon as she could, she got us out of Liverpool, because she was like, this place is toxic. It's like, and the whole of Liverpool is certainly not, but there are certain areas in Liverpool where there is a very, very small mentality, where a lot of the stereotypes that we have about people from Liverpool ring true on an almost daily basis, and so that's true of everywhere. But so yeah, when we moved up here, and then we had money, and again, not a huge amount at that point, but like it felt like when you've been super poor, like everything feels like a huge amount, right? So being able to afford video.
I mean, I don't know if you know this, but I grew up poor. Well, it's weird because like my family, my mom and my dad, probably, like, I guess we were considered like kind of like higher middle class, except like never really felt like that. Like we had an okay house, but it was mostly just like filled with junk, because my mom is a hoarder, though she doesn't admit to it still. And like I was never really given a lot of money, so like I pretty much had to earn anything that I had to spend. So like I've always been super frugal with money, and it doesn't help that I also have the trauma of like her just like psychologically holding money over my head constantly. As like this is her modrum of control over me. Like if I don't fucking say and do what she wants me to say and do, then my funding gets pulled and I can't fucking do anything anymore, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like I can't even go to school. Anyway.
Yeah, that sucks.
That sucks. It does really sucks when I'm literally like saying fucking do it then, bitch. Like I'll go get a fucking loan. Like I'll get a loan and I'll make my way through college and I'll pay it off somehow, some way. Like I don't fucking need you. Like.
Yeah. So one of the symptoms of bipolar is overspending. Like, I said before, risk-taking behavior.
Impulsivity goes way the fuck up.
Yeah, exactly.
And then add on ADHD on top of that.
which I do, which is fun. So because this is something again that was quite stupid of me, but it was all I knew how to do at the time. Really, it's like on reflection, it was stupid, but at the time, it's like, of course, this makes sense. Because I've been picked on for being poor, as soon as we had a little bit of money, I wanted to show that off. Like, because because basically it's like if you look at the things that I've I've been taught that my value is originally from my parents. My value is from my ability to be quiet and be out of the way, which, as we all know, I'm not very good at being quiet and out of the way.
I never want you to be quiet and out of the way. I want you to be loud and all up in my face and up my stream. Of my browser.
But then to my peers, like, money was always the big thing, in my head, if I'm picked on for having none, I will be adored for having lots. And I would
Hey Falcon, thanks for the raid, mate.
Hello.
Welcome in. Hello.
So I thought if I'm picked on, if I'm bullied for having no money, then I'll be loved for having loads. And that was the thing. It was different. It was, first of all, two different sets of people. It was, the people in Liverpool were the ones that were picking on me for not having money. The ones in Southport probably didn't care less. It's like, but I basically then started showing off again. Being a diva and being entertaining is one thing, but being a show off is not me, right? And so I did that for about a year and felt ultra slimy the whole time whilst doing it. But I don't like, but I was like, you know, people started calling me Designer Dave and all this stuff, and I was like, but
Designer Dave.
I know, because I was wearing like designer jeans and designer jumpers and stuff that weren't comfortable, by the way.
God, I was the opposite of you.
Well, you see, the thing is, I say this lasted for a year, and then I realized that like I didn't like wearing these clothes. I didn't like being Designer Dave. I didn't like being liked for my money or whatever. So I then did the exact opposite, and then went, you know, full circle into like combat pants and baggy t-shirts with band logos and stuff. So
yeah, again, my mom had a lot of control over like everything in my life. So she would like want to try to buy me like fancier like name brand clothing, and like because I was so money conscious and literally I was an anxious child. Like I probably qualified for anxiety disorder easily. I was like, no, A of all, because it's way too much, and B of all, because like I don't want it. Like, who gives a shit? Like, I didn't give a shit about like my appearance really. That transcended into a very toxic way as well. As like I really didn't fucking give a shit about my appearance. Should have been my mom's first sign that I was autistic, but you know, whatever. Anyway, I was just like, yeah, I don't give a shit. Just give me like whatever is comfortable and sensible, you know, as far as like, you know, warmth and stuff. And I don't need designer as long as it fits and it's sturdy. I'll take it, you know. That's just how I felt about it, you know. That's how I felt about the world. In a way, is like, you know, who gives a shit? Who's judging me? Who's looking at me? But really what it was is that my mom felt judged, felt like if I was making a shit appearance, then that reflects poorly on her. And that's her narcissism.
Yeah, you know? Makes sense. Yeah, so I went through that as a very brief period.
Hey, Cass, welcome in. Thanks for the follow, mate. Sorry I'm looking over here. By the way, I'm also trying to order food for myself, and hopefully none of you see this.
we all know now. Hi,
all know my home address.
And also, hi, Lindsay.
Wow, I really don't have fucking money for this, but we're going to order it anyway. I'm going to ask Frankie to send me. I may have spot me, but yeah. Okay. We're gonna close out. Sorry.
Okay.
I'm back.
So I think that the only thing that stopped me from spiraling at that point was the fact that, okay, I've got this completely new environment, I've got this completely new life, and you know, basically every single mental health condition is a combination of the internal environment and the external environment. So internally, I have bipolar and I have ADHD, and then there are those are there running in the background no matter what. But the external environment really does seem to dictate the severity of those. Now, not always, because I can and have been depressed for no good reason, and I can and have been manic for no good reason. But quite often, the extent and severity is in keeping with how things are going in my life, and especially till this point, it really was. It was very easy at that stage to be like, right, well, when things are going shit, I'm shit. When things are going good, I'm good. That's normal. Again, like understanding of mental health being where it was in like the late 90s, early noughties, that's where I'm like thinking. But the thing is, I'd still kept all of it to myself. Like the only person that by that point that knew, and we're talking like, you know, when I'm sort of 17, 18, is the mother of my kids. So she was my first girlfriend, eventually then became my first wife, and she was the only person that knew. I still didn't feel comfortable or confident in telling my mum, and I definitely didn't feel comfortable or confident in telling my dad. And I didn't tell any of my friends because I was just like, again, that fear that people have of what if my friends find out. And I spent years and years and years carrying that around and masking that. And then whenever people thought, like, whenever, because I would react in situations because I have, and I don't know if this is, I thought this was like a bipolar thing, but as I'm like getting like more into like looking into like ADHD side of things, is justice sensitivity. I've got like tremendous justice sensitivity, so I can't stand hypocrisy. Like,
what is that? Justice sensitivity? You said
justice sensitivity being that like when there is a when there's an injustice going on, like you just can't leave it alone. Like,
what's
and
the last
especially
injustice that you've reacted to?
Yeah, so especially in your direct circle and people in front of you. So prime example, and hypocrisy comes into this horrendously. So prime example, this is my dad, and this is something that I should be over but I'm not. Is the fact that when I was really little, my dad used to always say, right, your brother gets more Christmas presents than you just because he's older. And when you're older, you'll get more Christmas presents, right? And again, we were super poor, so like getting loads of Christmas presents was a great idea. It was something I really wanted. Sure. And then my dad went on to have 2 more kids, my younger sisters, and then basically a few Christmases later, big bag of presents for the girls, practically nothing for me. And my dad said, "Oh well, you got the extra presents when you were younger. It's their turn now."
The fuck?
And I'm like, I'm like 11 or 12 in this really equation, fucked. and I still remember like that whole thing. Of course you remember that. And I don't know if my dad literally realized that he did that, but I'm like, this is hypocrisy. In fact, I'll go with a more recent example of this is when my eldest son is quite opinionated, can be quite argumentative. My wife, second wife, so my current wife, not his mum, is quite argumentative and quite opinionated. And when the two of them fight, I side with whichever one of them is right. Like, and both of them hate that, because that sometimes means I don't side with them. Both of them want me to, both of them act as if my loyalty should be with, like, my wife acts as if it should be with her, and I shouldn't.
Loyalty.
I shouldn't disagree with her in front of the kids.
What is this? Some like stupid like medieval like sexist bullshit they're trying to enforce on y'all?
And my son thinks exactly the same way. And as far as I'm concerned, that like I can't credibly support one of them 100% of the time, because then that means I'm not standing up for what I personally believe is right.
Also, if you're full of shit, you're full of shit. I mean, this is very similar in the same line of like my rant I had about like taking personal responsibility. You know.
At the same time, in both of their defense, neither one of them thinks that they're full of shit. So
you say it as if it's like a real excuse.
No. What I mean is, for me to turn around and take that standpoint, I'd need to act as if, well, I must be right.
But you don't have to be 100%
but even
right.
When I say that I'm siding with whoever is right, what I'm actually saying is I'm siding with whoever I think is right in that moment. For all I know, I could be just as full of shit. That's all I'm saying. So,
but you can only pass a judgment with information that you know. If there's something you don't know and that you're ignorant to, by all means, like, fucking inform yourself, right? This is impartially part of my rant on taking personal responsibility. You know, if you find yourself ignorant to something and you want to say something about a subject that could potentially affect other people because other people take your word as fucking law because they look up to you, you know, do your due diligence and do your research first, because your words do have an effect on others. Likewise, you may think your mom is right about a situation compared to your dad, and you say, okay, well, mom's right here, you know, but then you find something else, like, oh shit, well, dad's right, you know, well then, okay, fine, just fast off and be like, okay, well, I didn't know this at the time. Like, it's kind of a half apology, like, I didn't know this at the time, but like, I found this out now, and I'd like to issue an apology, say I'm sorry, but it turns out that you are right about this because of new information that I gained. And if they're mad at you about like initially being, you know, the other way around, well, then that's on them, right? That's on them. They can't see the nuance of new information can change your opinion. You know what I mean?
You do realize that most people don't look at things as objectively and rationally as that, right? Unless, of course, you're dealing with a completely different group of people than I am.
I know that, but that's why I don't engage with people who wouldn't want to change their outlook on things given new information. Because we definitely fight it, and I definitely fight it sometimes too, because like when someone presents me something that like goes completely against something I believe in, I'm just like, whoa, what? No way. I'm like, okay, well, I'd like to see like something research about that and be like, and then if I see them, I'm just like, wow, full fucking shit. I have to like process this and think about how I'm thinking about this now in a different way.
But most people don't think that.
That's true. Because they don't want to be, again, this is all of my rant that I did earlier, which is just like, no one wants to fucking do that work. Like, it's too much work to think about it, and it's just a lot easier just to get defensive and say like, well, this is how I was raised and this is how I think and blah blah blah. You know, I hate that excuse personally, but you know, I guess then you don't vibe with that person anymore because it's like, well, they want to stick to their old beliefs and never fucking educate themselves, and I'm not for that. I'm for educating myself personally. I'm for constantly looking for new information, looking for conflicting information, even with stuff I agree with, looking for conflicting information. Like, generally speaking, when it comes to human rights, you know, we fucking stand human rights, and we're not going to say, oh yeah, all of a sudden I don't agree with, like, you know, the lifestyle of, you know, non-binary folks, you know, how dare they?
How like, dare they indeed? No. Well, at least how dare they, right?
How dare they? Oh shit! Fuck! Accidentally.
How dare they them?
How dare they them? That's great. But yeah, you know, I'll never fucking do that shit. But like when it comes to like other things that have like more subtlety to it, it's just like, all right, well, what's going on here? You know. I think it's just difficult to be shooting BN, but I would just always do what you think is right. If it's concerning the kids, your opinion is just as well as theirs. Yeah, especially. So when it comes to raising kids, I feel like people get the most offensive with that because it's like you want to believe that you're doing the best for your kids, but you know sometimes maybe you aren't. You know, and it's a fucking strike. It's a blow to your ego to be told, you know, what you're doing is harming your kids because you just want to convince yourself, no way, I'm helping my kids, I'm not hurting them. You know, you don't want to fucking know that you're hurting them. You don't want to believe that you or have the capability to do that.
A lot of times why people get defensive about the way they're parented and stuff is that it's hardly ever people that have been around you in a lot of, like, have been around you and saw your parenting style over a large period of time that give the most strongest opinions. The people who give the strongest opinions are usually someone who've witnessed one thing and want to jump straight, and it's like they want to jump straight in and tell you that what you're doing is wrong, and without knowing the rest of the story, without knowing that the day that you were letting the kids play at soft play whilst you scrolled your phone was because that was the only quiet moment that you'd had that week. Like, there was the first bit of peace that you'd had that week. Without knowing that, again, the time, like for example, after my suicide attempt, I was only chatting to my eldest son about this last night. Was the fact that I forgot how to cook. Like, not actually after the attempt. After the attempt, I relearned, but before, in the build up to the attempt, in the build up to all of that, I forgot how to cook. I forgot how to operate the washing machine. I felt overwhelmed by everything. And like, he at the age of 5 used to tuck me in a blanket on the couch while I cried, and then him and his brother watched TV. Up until that point, before then, I've been cooking everything. I've been making all the food. I've been making fresh food for them, and they were like eating really diverse and all the rest of it. And then I got to a point where I completely honestly forgot how to cook, and then had to give them, like, you know, take them to the pub down the road that had a soft play in it, and had like 2-for-1 chicken nuggets and stuff. And that was all I could do at that time. And if I'd have carried on being like that, would that have been harmful for them? Yes. Was it actually harmful for them for the short period of time? Yeah, actually, I think it made both of them more picky eaters going forward, and I've not been able to. I'm only just beginning to reverse some of that stuff now. But at the time, but if someone had come in and at that point said to me, "What you're doing is like terrible," or "What you're doing is wrong," or "You shouldn't be doing this," there's no way I'd have taken that well. I wouldn't have taken it well, because what I was actually doing at that point was the best I could muster for my kids at that point in time. So, and I think the other thing as well is that the majority of advice for parents comes from either non-parents or super privileged parents that have got like nannies and shit. It's like,
oops, I'm one of those. I'm a non-parent who offers parental advice.
I know you're a non-parent, but it's like the funny thing is,
but I also offer parent advice from like child psychology POV of like, hey, maybe don't fuck up your kid so much.
Well, yeah,
they'll be okay.
But that's the thing. It's like, okay, so I am and it's again, I don't have the audacity to think that I know everything about parenting. Therefore, I don't advise people on parenting. I've been a parent for nearly 17 years now, and I don't think I know everything. And like, in fact, I always say that I've not been a parent for 17 years. I've been parent of a 17-year-old for 5 minutes. I've been parent of another 15-year-old for like 5 minutes. It's like, because they're different people every single year, which is cool. But like, going back to that whole disagreement between my wife and my son, is like sometimes one of them's right, sometimes the other one's right, and that's just and a lot of it comes down to like differences in ideals and differences in values. Let's face it, my wife was brought up in Soviet Russia, so think she's got a lot more kind of like strict ideals and stuff than I do, and it's like, but as I said, the thing is with that is that neither one of them notices the times that I do side with them, but they both notice the times that I don't. And I think that's quite interesting. I think that's quite interesting.
Well, that's just human nature. We negative feelings in general always stand out to us a lot more than positive feelings.
Yeah.
Which is another reason why positive vibes only is complete bullshit, kids.
As if we needed another reason, right? But...
yeah, but like, but sincerely, negative thoughts, feelings, experiences, traumas, our minds naturally want to attach themselves to those more so than they do the happy thoughts, because happy is a very passing emotion. It's like fleeting. Like you just keep seeking for more and more happiness. Think about dopamine cycle. I mean, ADHD is a great fucking example of this, where it's just like you constantly need to find new stimulation for yourself. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, appropriate vibes only is what we stand here. Absolutely. Open talk space. Always. Always, always. Yeah. But shit, man. Like, I think my general like thing with like when it comes to parenting, if like someone is like concerned if like they're a good parent or not, I say if you are concerned about how something might affect your kid, I think you're already a great parent.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of parents who just don't give a shit, who literally are just like, whatever, they'll be fine, they'll grow up fine, like whatever, it's whatever. And if they annoy me, I'll fucking smack them around. And I'm like, all right, well, don't fucking do that. And they're not gonna just be fine. Like, be fucking worried for your kids. Like, hello, care, please, fucking hell.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're worried, that's good. Then do research. Be worried, and try to do the best that you can with the circumstances. Yeah. I have another question. I have a question, interesting, pertaining to that. When you were at kind of like your worst, and like of course there might be something to say about like your kid basically doing caretaking for you.
Mm-hmm.
With like the blanket. I mean, it's just a blanket over daddy, But do you think you would have, or did you, or do you think you would have accepted help if someone was like, hey, like you don't seem to be doing so well, can I help out somehow? Would you accept that?
I think so. Like, it's no one did. Like the kind of big issue I had there is that I'd, in the build up to that time, I'd been in a toxic relationship for a year where like she had cut me off from all of my family, all of my friends, and then after all that was done, left. And those bridges were very, very burned. Like some of them have been repaired since, but some of them have never been repaired since. And so there was nobody. And to be honest, there's not many people, and I say many people because one of them's in chat right now, Lindsay, who check in on me.
Lindsay getting called out.
There's not many people who check in on me. Lindsay and Lydia being like Miracle Prawn being the two people that do, and I really feel like, the only people that do check in on people are people that need checking in on themselves. You know what I mean? Like you're not gonna get your friends that don't get mental health.
It's
just
funny.
Suddenly...
I definitely need to be checked in on more, I feel, but I don't really check in on other people. Although I am usually the first to like DM other folks, but I don't usually start with like, "Hey, you doing okay?"
I don't know. It's like I think because of the fact that we already run environments like that, it's like it almost feels like we're doing that, right? So like
we're already doing that.
So we give people that opportunity a bunch of times a week, and again, it's like it's I don't have that many. So would I have accepted the help? The reason I say I don't know, or I'd like to think so, is it depends on how the person offered it. And now I say this piece of advice tends to resonate with a lot of people, but this piece of advice is based on me thinking what I need when I'm depressed. What I need when I'm depressed isn't someone to ask me how they can help. It's someone to help. Just help. Just do it. Don't even ask me, because if someone asks me, "Oh, do you need anything?" I'll say no. If someone specifically said, "Even, do you need me to make you some food?" I'd probably still say no. If someone still said, "Do you need me to tidy up a bit or whatever?" I'd probably still say no. Whereas if a person just did it, I might seem resistant to it while it's happening, but that's the depression talking. Like that's the low version of me talking, and they are. I know, like I can see why it often gets lumped in with psychosis, because there are three distinct voices. They all sound like me. They just have different. They're all my voice, but I cannot relate. Stop it, Hellblade. So I cannot relate to the low me. I can relate much more to the high me, but the high me is like is a little bit, as I said before, is a little bit more risk takey. We'll do things that might get me in trouble later or whatever. That was when I was taking drugs a lot in my like mid to late 20s. That was the high me trying to get me to the physically high me.
Those kind of drugs. I was like about to say. I was also about to say something that you started with when we first started this interview today. Was regarding like how you can connect more to the depressed you.
Did I say that?
You said something along those lines that like when you're low and depressed,
I learn more from the depressed.
Learn more, yeah. Which
so
I hearken that to. You connect more.
Oh,
I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but that's my thought about it.
So okay, let me put it this way: you're more likely to learn from something that is got a different opinion to you than someone that's got the same, right?
I mean, more than that, I'm gonna transition this into my like another talk that I had a while ago, which is that I feel like people need to face adversity in their lives in order to become and understand empathy. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the most empathetic people in the world have often faced some of the biggest kinds of I just lost the word. Oppression, adversity.
No, it's a weird one. Like I agree very strongly with that statement. And again, if we tie that back into parenting and stuff, this is one of the ones I've struggled with a lot. Is like I don't want my children to experience adversity, but at the same time, I don't want them to not have empathy or like.
Well, you can't protect your kids from absolutely everything.
I know you. I know you can't protect your kids from absolutely everything. But here's the thing: is that it's okay. First of all, you don't want them to deal with anything that's too difficult, but at the same time is that difficulties are all relative, and we all and like, okay, so
difficulties are relative, and also if they lived a completely privileged life where they never experienced any difficulties at all, don't you think that they wouldn't then appreciate the things that they do have?
Oh yeah, totally.
Because that thought experiment has been proven very time over time, especially with like, rich entitled kids who live in a fucking sterile environment. Also, Frankie's home. Hi, I love you. Food's on the way.
So yeah, no,
I need to take the car and return fucking keys because I'm a fool.
Yeah, I absolutely agree that and I think we only learn empathy through adversity, and as well, I think that when you've been through quite a bit of adversity, you're able to have, because most people say empathy is with something that you can 100% relate to, and I think it's more like, okay, you can be empathetic with something that you can't 100% relate to because the simple rule I put into it is if I can't 100% put myself in that person's shoes, I can still accept that, okay, this person is expressing this as a hard thing. I know what hard things feel like. I'm not going to outright compare my hard thing to their hard thing, no pun intended. I'm not going to outright compare it because comparison generally fails us quite well. But what I am going to do is I'm going to say, okay, I know what it feels like to go through tough times. Therefore, I'm going to accept that what this person's going through is tough times, and therefore I can have a semblance of empathy. That's not just quite sympathy. It's like I can have a semblance of empathy with this person at the same time. And yeah, I do believe that. But I believe that going back to your question about relating to my depression more, is the voice in my head when I'm depressed, that is nowhere when I'm normal or manic. It's like none of those thoughts anywhere, right? So like the honestly, people would be disgusted by what that voice says to me, like, because they're not used to hearing me. I talk to me in that position, myself in that position, and I hate me and I hate everything. I'm so destructive when I'm in that position. I get very, very bitter about I suddenly I
Do you still
love
get that
seeing
way?
other people. What? Sorry?
You still get that way?
Yes.
How often do you get that way, you think?
You know what? It's a tough question right now, because I went from getting that way before the pandemic. I went from getting that way maybe twice a year for a few weeks, or maybe a month and a half at most. So I would probably get twice or three times a year for anywhere between 2 and 6 weeks maybe. And yeah, then during the pandemic, it became significantly more regular, but for significantly shorter periods of time. So I could hate the world for 3 days and then be the happiest individual on the face of the planet the next day. And I had to, because I when I check in with the doctors and stuff, I quite often have to give like a 2-month mood diary, about how my mood's tracking over time. And sometimes even when the doctors aren't asking for them, I'll just keep one. So like I've got one right now, and I've had 2 very brief dips in the entirety of 2022 so far. One about a week and a half in, and the second time on the morning of my birthday party. But I think that was just social anxiety. I did not want to go to my own birthday party, and then I went and had a great time. But I've not had to deal with social anxiety for 2 years, you see. So
it's pretty amazing, honestly.
So so far, like when I said to you at the beginning of the stream, I'm like, and you know what's really, actually, the mental health check-ins have really helped with it, because now if I would go long periods where I would never even ask myself how I'm doing. And now I've got 3 times a week where I've got to answer that question.
Pretty great, actually.
So I tend to actually think every single day now. It's almost as automatic as brushing my teeth or going to the gym or whatever. Like the things that I don't even need to think about much anymore. I'll check in with where I'm doing, and most days I am what I would say is a 4. So I'm in a slightly elevated state. I'm not manic. I'm not completely over the moon, but most days I'm a 4. The problem is when I'm, that how 3 or 2.5 or whatever ends up being my average is the fact that when I have those days, it's like 1/0/, and yeah, I still have periods where I hate everything. I don't quite hate everyone, but I do get very, very annoyed by people, and I get very, very begrudging of other people. Even people I love, I'll get begrudging of their success and stuff, because I think I say there's 2 different types of jealousy, and I don't know which one's jealousy and which one's envy, but one of them is that person's succeeding and I want a bit of that for me, and the other one is that person succeeding and I don't want them to have that. And like that person succeeding and I want that for me is very much me in my normal day to day. That's me, and especially, and then manic me is more like that person's succeeding and we can both do this, but then depressed me is just like, fuck that person and everything they stand for, it's like, and it's not.
Do you
like,
say
honestly,
that about your fellow creators in your head?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever said it about you. I'll get back to you.
It'll happen after tonight, I'm sure.
Well, but honestly, that's one of the reasons why I try to stay away from social media, because I end up there is those thoughts and those feelings it's not like I'm even pushing them to one side and ignoring them when I'm normal. They're not there. Like we call the depressed voice, like the name for it we have is the other, because a loner will be like, she cannot relate to who the person's speaking to when I'm there. Okay, and then actually, wait, there's depressed and then there's full-on symptomatic, which is destroy the whole world. So there are levels to it. The depressed voice tends to start kicking in, and it's like, okay, starts throwing a little bit of self-doubt in there, starts throwing in a bit of like, everything you do is terrible, you're never going to succeed, why are you trying with any of this stuff, what's the point, you may as well not even get out of bed today, you're not going to, if you do, no one will check in on you, no one will care, if you disappeared off the face of the planet, no one would even notice, like down to the point of so I mentioned Adam a few times, obviously, and because he and I speak, and we haven't done for a while, but like a lot of our shared community have checked in with me as to how he's doing, and when I was kind of like the last struggle I was having, like towards the beginning of December last year, like I was jealous of the fact that people were checking in on our mutual friend via me, and I 100% believed that if I was to suddenly stop streaming or disappear or whatever it might be, that 0 people would check in on me. Like 100% believed that. Like, and that's the voice. That's the depressed voice. That's
the only thing that like keeps me from not getting into that thought, because I've had that thought before, and I have that thought now constantly about like, am I making an impact? Are people even listening to me right now? Do people give a shit about me? And I think every time I've had like these kind of dips before, my community has come and helped reinforce to my dumb brain that, yeah, we fucking give a shit about you, Waba. Like, shut the fuck up. Slap. And I'm like, you're right. Like, I do this to everyone else, and I need it too sometimes. And they remind me it's okay to also ask for them for support, because I try to support everyone else. But so between that and also, honestly, the fact that I have Frankie, that also really fucking helps me know that, like, even if I wasn't on Twitch, I would have at least Frankie checking up on me. So I do have someone, and I live with them, so it's nice.
That's good.
It is.
But yeah, the brain will tell you that, won't it? It's like and it's like, again, on a normal day, I know that people care about me.
Yeah.
Like, and then again, on a manic day, it's the opposite of that again, in the fact that not only do I know that people care about me, I think I'm some sort of fucking walking god. It's that's so, but I can relate to that a little bit more, not the god side of it, obviously, but I can relate to the fact that I've got this heightened confidence in what I do, because I actually do have confidence in what I do when I'm normal. Just when I'm like manic, and not my confidence is like the entire world's gonna love this. Just put this, like, let's do 74 pieces of content today. Let's just do it. Let's get out there. Let's get in front of people. Let's do this. And
I'm not manic, but like I feel that way sometimes, because like I did like literally like upload a short every single day for like 2 weeks. Had it like scheduled out, like did a bunch of edits in a row.
Yeah.
And then I just didn't do that for the rest of this month. And that was just this month. And like I need to go back and like download a bunch of clips and make a bunch of edits to those clips, and then schedule them out in a reasonable time frame, and not just like every fucking day. You know, stretch the content out. But yeah. You know.
Well, yeah, I've got mine now, so I try and do one a day. But I got there, and I got the momentum on my side, and I got a system, and it became easier. Like I said, you know, like the one post 4 lotteries kind of thing, and then unexpectedly, my wife sent me to Poland for 4 days, and that ended my streak. And then I'm like starting from feels like you're starting from scratch again, which you aren't. But
I'll be right back. Sorry,
okay.
Gotta grab my food.
Let's talk about Waba. Bet they can hear us. I'm just still dealing with the fact that on my screen, it's actually, is Waba that side of me on the screen? Need to move that window out of the way. Yeah, cool. But they are about 5 seconds behind on the video.
Hi.
So yeah, just in the chair now. There we go. I was just commenting on how far behind you are in the video. So like, when you say I've got to go and get my food, the past you is still in the chair and still talking.
How far behind are you, Damn.
Only about 4 or 5 seconds.
Should only be 4 or 5 seconds.
Well, there you go.
It's my normal delay.
I am going to need to go to bed soon-ish, so if you've got the super important or pertinent questions that you want to make sure we get to, I'd say prioritize them.
I got 2, so you can have 1.
Ooh.
No, you're a pretty great fucking guest. You unintentionally answered the other questions that I would have had, which is, I mean, my base 4 questions always, when it comes to Mental Health Monday, is like, where'd this start? How was it growing up with this? I guess we can do this as the finisher, which is like, how are you dealing with this now? And do you have any help or resources or tips, advice to folks that other might be going through this themselves?
Okay. How I'm dealing with it now, weirdly, is I'm taking my own advice. So, like when I feel like no one would be there, instead of waiting around for somebody to reach out. Because if you think, oh, no one cares about me, and like it's 3 a.m. right now, and if I was to have that thought, like no one cares about me, I'd check my phone. Yeah, look, no one's checked in. And then I check my phone 5 seconds later. Still no one's checked in. Still no one's checked in. Still no one's checked in. You know, I'm proving my null hypothesis by sheer force of will. So instead of that, I'd be like, look, I'll reach out and I'll put something in my Discord. I use my own Discord mental health section when my mental health's not good, and I let people come through for me, which is not like the old me. at all. It was like, I'll be there for everybody, but I won't take anything back. I've also learned that actually, again, so is yeah, okay, you've got to, if you're going to ask for help, aim that request in the right places, because if I was to ask for help off my like my group of boys that I've been mates with over many years, very few of them understand mental health. And the ones that do only talk about it when one-to-one anyway, which is actually, I prefer to see my friends one-to-one.
Same.
So instead of like jumping into like a boys' voice group chat or whatever, I'd pick one out of that group and say, I'm really struggling. Yeah, can we have a cup of tea or whatever? So yeah, I'm not. So there's that. The ironic thing, because right, I'm here right now. I have a very good sleep schedule, like very good, except for today. But I got a nap in before, so it's fine. And so I'm adamant on my self-care, which is I think why the pandemic ruined a lot of things, because my self-care, my sleep schedule went out the window. I was first getting into Twitch. I was hanging out with people until 2 a.m. or whatever, but I didn't need to be up for the gym at 6 a.m, so it didn't really matter. But the gym was gone, and when the gym was gone, the food went a little bit more indulgent, and then the booze went a little bit more indulgent, and so on. So my self-care is I'm not going to call it impeccable, but it's there. I notice when I'm burning out earlier, and because burnouts are very, very quickly followed by depression. Depression can get its hooks in very easy when you're tired.
I feel that.
And that's it really. It's like, so a lot, like there's again those affirmations that I give to everybody else, like no matter where your mental health is, your value doesn't change. I tell myself that so much now, and it helps a lot, because when I'm depressed, I feel not only worthless is the exact opposite. I feel like I have a worth. I have a negative worth. I'm a drain when I'm depressed. And I've also told my wife that's how I feel. And I've asked her to like, she's like, when I'm depressed, just to remind me that my value is still the same and she still loves me all the same, because the negative brain, the depressed brain, is going to tell me that she hates me. So those things, and the other one being is that, and I remind myself of this a lot, is the expression we use in our community is, on the days where you feel you can do nothing and you do anything, then that means everything. So for example, when I said the other day that my mood was really, really low on the morning of my birthday party, I got out of bed 10 minutes before my stream started, and basically while my starting soon screen was on, shoved a bagel down my face, and I streamed in my dressing gown, robe, whatever you Americans call them. I streamed in my robe, and and basically was like, I'm not okay today. I'm a 2 or maybe even a 1, who knows? And I'm not okay today, and I'm only going to turn up for as long as I can turn up, but I wanted to come in and just see how it goes. Like, I wanted to, and honestly, the community roll through showed up for me big time, and we had a fantastic stream. We cried a bit, as we always do. Well, maybe not always, but most streams we cry at some point, and it was great. And
that's great.
Honestly. And I think the tip there is, when we're depressed, there's something called anhedonia, and this kicks in with both regular depression and with bipolar. Anhedonia, for those who don't know, is the inability to perceive pleasure in the things that you would normally enjoy. So most people, when they do that, they stop doing the things that they would normally enjoy.
Yes, they do.
And
I tell them that's the worst thing you could do.
Yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. It's like if you're standing on a box that takes you closer to the surface of the water, you need to put another box underneath your feet to get closer. You don't need to kick the box out from underneath you to go further underneath. And that's what we're so tempted to do it. So I'm very, very careful of not doing that. Advice for anybody else would be all of that, basically. What I've just said, it's kind of like the same answer, is do open up to people. I'm not on meds at present, because the last time I did a checkup, they basically decided they decided I only need the effects of meds on such a kind of sporadic basis that to have me on them 100% of the time was a foolish idea.
That's interesting.
I know. I was surprised. So I said, can we just have like I asked for like a break in case of emergency box of, Valium or something. Yeah,
Valium, I guess Valium could work for short term. I was about to say like most of, so most of the time when it comes to, this is my understanding of bipolar medication, it's really something that needs to like build up in your system.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just like fucking take something. But if you had Valium, yeah, sure, I guess.
For me, it's something that when I become symptomatic stops me from spiraling and doing anything dangerous. Like stops me from hurting myself, or I don't ever hurt other people physically, but I do hurt other people with words. I do break things, so like I asked them for that, and they were like, oh no, because we're worried that if you had those you'd just take them all the time, and then it does become almost useless. It's like
Right.
so I kind of respected that, and so I'm not on them at the minute, but what I will always say on when a medication is concerned is there's absolutely no shame in it. I've been on 4 different types in my life. They had 4 different effects on me in my life, and some of them I needed to get over. Some of them I needed to get over a particular period. Others of them I might have needed for longer. Who knows? But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you personally need them for. There's no shame there. So if some people will need them for periods of their life, other people will need them to manage their symptoms indefinitely, and there's no shame either way. Like a lot of there's a lot of stigma still around medication. So please, and also, and again, whenever we're talking about medication, please, like I said before, it was very silly of me to not refresh mine when I moved house. I did have some quite serious side effects for a short period of time, but some people have much longer, much bigger, and more long-lasting side effects from doing that. So please, always consult your doctor. Don't make the same mistake I did.
I mean, I think I think my legal disclaimers was in my intro, but once again, these are our thoughts and feelings based on our experiences and our training. Don't take our word as law, and do your own research, and always discuss your medications with your doctor before you decide to make a choice with your health, with your medical or mental health. Likewise, my community, while it is a support system, is not a replacement for therapy with a real psychiatrist or a real mental health counselor who is yours, and not just like at communities kind of thing. I'm no one's therapist, but I'll be your fiercest advocate always. And yeah, we actually have like I think it's on a 2-hour timer to remind people if they haven't taken their meds yet. Definitely take your meds. It's very important to take your meds consistently, and take it with, on your doctor's orders. Take it by your doctor's orders. Yeah. So yeah, there's your legal disclaimer at the end of the video. End of the podcast here again. But yeah. What's your piece of advice to folks who might be going through something like this? What would you tell them? How to best get help?
Again, start with speaking to your doctor. I couldn't have done this without the help of doctors. There was varying degrees of how good that help was along at different points in the journey, but start there. Peer support is amazing. And Lindsay said earlier that she loves being called out. Me and Lindsay, whenever we talk bipolar, Lindsay's bipolar as well, it is like talking to the exact same person. But for that, for that matter, not all cases of bipolar are the same. One thing we didn't even touch on earlier is that there is type 1 and type 2. I have type 2. Type 2 involves a less serious form of mania called hypomania.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, hypomania. Yeah, hypomania. Yeah. So I don't tend to have like fugue states or anything. I've had like one. So I don't tend to like dissociate to the level of losing time, having my bipolar episode been something that I've not been conscious of. And also my manic episodes last for shorter periods of time as well. So there is that. And again, the best way I describe this is if we always say that mental health is a spectrum. Well, I say mental health is a double spectrum. Within the spectrum of mental health, you have many different conditions. Within each different conditions, you have a spectrum of all the people that represent that condition.
Absolutely.
And so you might find if this is the first time you've sat listening to bipolar, probably not, because Waba's been doing it all month. But if this is the first experience you've had with bipolar, please don't take my accounts as being the only account.
To be honest, we haven't talked about bipolar specifically because most of the folks that I have on here have just depression, anxiety, lovely combo.
So yeah, I mean, they're bundled in. Well, actually, no, anxiety is not guaranteed with bipolar, but it is often. It's not guaranteed, but I do have that.
Much like anything else, everything crosses over with everything. So if you got one, you will probably have multiple. Very likely. Very likely.
So yeah, but I would just finish on like the phrase that I'll do two. I've already said one of them, but one of them is the one of them that I've not said is you are not weak. The journey is just difficult. If you are struggling with something, it's because the thing is difficult. It's not because you have an inability to cope with it. And if we start looking at things that way around, difficulties can be overcome and our resilience can be improved. Doesn't mean that everyone will get the same level. It's not everybody has the same. It's not everyone has the same ability to improve their resilience. Not everybody has the same ability to improve their coping strategies. But I believe that every single one of us can improve from where we are once we start treating the problem as the problem rather than treating ourselves as the problem. And the second part of it is what I said earlier, which is on the days where you feel you can do nothing and you do anything, then that means everything. I really mean that. And again, I'm going to do my low key flex just to finish it off. Last year, I ran a marathon after only 4 weeks prep. Getting out of bed when you're depressed is harder than that. Way harder.
True. Very true.
Look at me getting quotes all over your channel.
Yeah, you got like 6 quotes this stream, I swear. Anyway.
Cool. That's because I'm trained for sound bites, remember?
If you want me to say something in a particular voice, I can do Elmo extremely well. I can do Joker pretty well. Yeah, so many good quotes made today, honestly. Hi, Ribbon. Thank you for being here. It's your thing, right? Dave, thank you for being here. Sincerely, I'm fucking honored and flattered and a little horny, a little turned on, not gonna lie.
That's the exact combo that I want you to be.
I know. Every stream.
I was about to do exclamation mark thirsty and I realized that doesn't work over here, does it? Wait, I'll just throw a few of these in instead. There's a bunch of thirsty but worthies.
Stream Elements, subscribe to.
Stream Elements is subscribed to me, actually, yeah.
Alright, because I've tried this before.
It does, yeah, it does work. No! Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's fine, but no, that's not Stream Elements saying it anyway, that is it.
Sorry.
Sure.
Oh, that's incorrect.
This is why I don't do anything on the fly. Why does that picture of Elden Ring look like it's from Breath of the Wild?
Hello? Sorry, I switched the wrong scene real quick. I don't know why my commandments aren't working. Oh, I know why, because I'm doing it the opposite way. That's why. It's command add. Oh my god. Oh. Oh my god. Thirsty. There we go. Thirsty.
Mindset first. Mindset 5 first. Mindset 5 first. I like it when text-to-speech reads them out.
God damn it. Why did Moobot get that?
Got to add the spaces, that's why. You got no spaces.
I know. Anyway, thank you, Dave, for being on.
It's been a pleasure. It's been an absolute pleasure.
It's been an absolute fucking pleasure. Get rid of Moobot's thirsty. Alright. Say goodnight to Dave, everyone. And we're going to play the outro video, then we're going to go chat for a bit by ourselves, okay? Here we go. Thank you so much for watching Mental Health Monday. I hope you enjoyed. Bye. If you did, be sure to give the video a like, put a comment down below, and share it with a friend. If you want to catch it live, feel free to follow us on Twitch. The link is in the description below. As always, mental health is an open and ongoing discussion, so feel free to say hello and then, you know, come talk with us about mental health. I love the topic, always talk about it. It's a chill atmosphere, it's a safe space. Sometimes we get a little chaos and chaotic, but it's still a safe space all the same. If you also enjoyed the guests and what they had to say, you can check out their content as well. I put their Twitch links in the description below. As for the rest of my socials, they're also down there. Twitter, Instagram, and the Discord if you want to join. As always, just pretend the rest of the video happened. Shiftwise switches me to this scene. All right. Hi, YouTube. What's up? As always, you can find their links in the description below. Take care of yourselves. Take some time for yourself. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye, YouTube. I'm going to click stream marker now. And now we're going to switch over.
Come catch Waba live. Only on Twitch.
Fucking